What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around. My name is Tyler.
I am Steve.
And today we are so excited to have Max Moubarek on the show. Max is one of the masterminds behind the beloved Abstract Effects. We are super excited to talk to Max tonight. You know, it's always great to see creative minds behind the scenes and get a chance to really sit down and talk with them, because a lot of times you see the front men. You get to see the people who are in the promos, in the shots, in the case of Abstract Effects, in the tutorials. And while we absolutely love the other brothers, people like Max behind the scenes are also a major driving factor in what we know and love from a lot of these creative companies. And we are really excited to sit down and pick Max's brain tonight, talk to him about not only the magic side of things, but the entrepreneurial side of things, and get a new, interesting perspective.
Yeah, Max is awesome. You know, I'm always psyched to talk to him when I'm on Instagram and stuff like that. And it's good that we finally met him during the Unconventional Fun event a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, dude. And, you know, even in the pre-show, we had such a great time chatting. So it's going to be a fun time tonight. We are glad to see everyone out getting excited. I see Cat Bolt in the chat with a big yes right there. But before we jump into it, everyone, why don't you all just hit the subscribe button, like the video. We're going to take a quick word from our sponsor here.
Join us as we celebrate the marvelous and fascinating things that surround us, all in the palm of your hands. You will be mesmerized. Follow us on Instagram at MarvelousDecks and at MarvelousDecks.com.
That video will never not make me laugh now. Like
MarvelousDecks.com.
In the palm of your hand.
What is up, Brad?
And for everyone who has not checked out the Visions playing cards live now on Kickstarter, make sure to click the link in the description below. I'm pretty sure I put it there, but if I didn't, Google Visions playing cards Kickstarter and it will come up as the first link. Make sure to go check it out, back it. It is an awesome campaign. And of course, our own lovely Steve is the one behind the Visions playing cards. It has been a year in the making. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm excited to hear him shut up about it. So no, I'm just I'm going to
be honest. I'm actually excited to hear me shut up about it.
Now, it is an absolutely amazing project. The deck is great. So great. It actually just hit its stretch goal for full front and back foiling on the cards. Printed by Cardamundi. This is going to be a great deck. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure to go check out the Kickstarter for Visions playing cards.
We're $5,000 away, or just over $5,000 away from unlocking the Lautrec Future Edition and the Collector's Box. So
nice. And I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes there's weeks where I'm just like, man, I hate Kickstarter.
I know. Right. Tell me about it. Yeah.
But we can get into that another time. Guys, we are all so excited. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Let us bring Max into the chat here. What up, Max?
What up?
Max, yeah.
Dude, Steve loves his soundboard. I can't get enough of it.
Dude, he's got a full bar back there. That thing.
I know this is a solid setup. At first, when we had when you first came on, I was like, oh, like I like the decorations in the back. Or there was I saw the different colors. I'm like, maybe it's playing cards. And then I blew up the screen. I'm like, no, that's just a great amount of liquor and mixers there. I'm down with this.
Just a bunch of whiskey. That's what I get through every morning. Every morning is just, this is what helps me through it.
Mm-hmm. There you go, man. Nothing wrong with that. So how you doing today, Max? How has life been treating you throughout this pandemic?
Dude, life has been good. You know, it's been a really cool thing to adjust to. I'm the kind of person who always loves change. So, you know, it's been obviously devastating what's been going on, but you know, we're just trying to make the best out of it. You know, personally, you know, my wife and I just welcomed to the world our firstborn, Trey.
Yes.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of work on my part for that one. But so you know, it's been
a lot of work. Oh, really? You did work on that?
A little bit, you know, maybe 5 minutes worth. But
I love it.
Hey, more than me. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god!
It's you know, so personally, that's been just a great new adventure. You know, the business side of things, you know, we really had to pivot the way that we do things. You know, we had a little office warehouse out here in Vegas, and obviously when things kind of started to get bad last year, we shut that down. We started working from home. We're mostly working out of Daryl Davis, Tattoo Daryl, as people know him. Started working out of his house and kind of having to readjust the way that we ship, the way that we package, the way that we build. But I mean, it's been a really cool way to change the way that we do things and really force us to look at what's most important, what our real focus is, what we're driving towards. So, really made us stop and think and, recognize not only how lucky we are to get to do this and to be healthy and, and to get to do something that we love, but also, what our really driving factors are in the way that we do things. So,
I think a lot of companies at this point have had to kind of go over all that stuff, kind of reorganize and see where things matter. I think that's a smart thing to do.
It is, yeah, and it's important. I think that's one thing that that's one thing that we've talked a lot about is, how often do we really need to readdress the way we're doing things? Because we start off going a little like 1% in the wrong direction, 1 degree in the wrong direction. We'll never notice it until we're way too far gone and we're way off target, right? And then at that point, it's too late. So,
we kind of did that with all our deck specs.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that, from a business point of view, it's really interesting because you always have this idea that like every business needs a 5-year plan. And while that's not a bad thing, part of having a 5-year plan, a 6-month plan, a 1-year plan is being willing to, on a moment's notice, change and realizing that business is not about finding what works and continuing to do it forever. It's about always questioning and challenging what you're actually doing. Steve, you having some focus issues there?
Don't judge me.
But always challenging and focusing on how you're doing things and how you can do it better, or how you can do it different and how you can try new things. And really, that's part of growth. And I think a lot of people don't realize that business is not just like set it and forget it, no matter how successful it becomes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, we actually work on a 12-week plan. So every 12 weeks, we set aside 1 full day where we're not going to be distracted by anything else. We don't send any meetings, no building, nothing like that. And that's all we do. We say, what are we doing for the next 12 weeks? Where are we at with ongoing projects, upcoming projects, anything like that. And so we're just working on this like little window of time, just little 12 weeks at a time. That's been great for us. Yeah. Cause we tried in the beginning. We're like, what's the first year going to look like? What's 5 years now? What's 10 years now going to look like? And, it's so easy to go off course so quickly and so dramatically.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just work in little 12-week blocks, and that's been really great for us.
I think, especially at this day and age, things change so damn quickly. Yeah. Tomorrow TikTok might not even exist. It's just, So I doubt it, but you never know.
It's almost more likely that Instagram won't exist. If anything is going to go the way of the dinosaurs at this point, like it's going to be or maybe even Facebook. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's anywhere anytime soon. We wish. Well,
we'll see. I mean, I don't know how many people are on Facebook these days, but I guarantee probably about 10% of them are fake or bots or deactivated or whatever. It's crazy to think, but like that's the way of social media in the world is we do live in this ever evolving landscape where 12 weeks really can feel like a lifetime.
Yeah. And so much can change even that period of time, but you have enough flexibility in that little window to change what you want to get out of that end goal. Right. And so that's a great thing about that is like, if we're going for a 6-month, 1 year, 2 year plan, 5-year plan, we can make a lot of sacrifices and make a lot of compromises. And then we realize way late that we totally missed the mark. But when we're looking at a really narrow window, we're really narrowly focused at that point. And that's what really helps drive us is that there's nothing that really can come and distract us because, hey, 9 weeks from now, we have to get to this point. So we can't let something at week 3 stop us from getting there. So
no, 100%.
I think it's just because we all have ADD. That's probably why we have to do it. But,
I don't even think ADD exists anymore. I think everybody is just the way we are.
I think so. Yeah.
In this day and age,
yeah. Because I think it's just that's the pace. I think we're finally catching up with the people that have ADD.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They've been ahead way long before us. Yeah.
They've always been smarter than us. They always lose interest on stupid things. So I think we're finally catching up.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time that we've wasted on things, they're like, nah. Yeah. I even say I've had ADD my whole life, so I don't know.
This is what it comes down to. Everybody has it if they're not interested in something. There's nothing wrong with not being interested in whatever it is that you lose focus on. You know what I mean? There was actually a pretty dope story about this girl, and somebody might know. She actually was having issues in school, I guess. You know, this woman over in, I think it was maybe Luke would know. It's like a famous story about this young girl who
the dancer.
Exactly. See, I didn't even have to finish, and you already knew. So yeah, it's like this famous dancer. But when she was a kid, before she was actually a dancer, she would like be disrupted like easily in class. She would like dance a lot, and the teachers were concerned, and they sent her to a doctor. The parents brought her in to, get looked at, and, the therapist or psychiatrist or whoever, had a few meetings with her, and then, talked to the parents, and you're like, there's nothing wrong with your daughter. She's just bored.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. And she's like one of the, best dance instructors, in the, overseas somewhere.
Well, and I mean, we're creating a society where attention is in such bite-sized pieces now that's almost inevitable that we're creating this ADD oriented society. Like, not to say that ADD isn't an actual like thing, but like there's definitely this mentality of we're moving towards focusing on a million things. It's the whole thing of multitasking. Like,
hey, when are we doing a deck sniff? I'm just kidding. I was interrupting and moving on.
You know what, Steve? You can go fuck yourself.
I was just going with the conversation. Go ahead. Carry on. I'm sorry.
Now I kind of lost my train of thought, but I didn't. So no, it's interesting to see though, because we always had this idea that like we can all multitask, and no matter how many times a study comes out and says humans are terrible at multitasking, everyone will always claim up and down that I'm great at multitasking. I'm going to tell you right now, if I try and do two things, one of them is just bullshit in the background, and the other one I'm only given 70%. Like,
yeah,
there are people who are better at multitasking, though.
Yeah, but no one is like great at it.
Them. But I'm gonna give him credit and say the one thing that he's doing, he'll do it good.
Yeah,
that's just ask him to do another thing while he's doing that, you're gonna be in trouble.
Because I live by one Ron Swanson quote, and that is, "Don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing." So.
I'm really glad that this is the direction we've got. We're like, 10 minutes into this thing? I literally thought it was going to open up and you guys be like, what about the Equivocaine Summit? And I was like, oh,
dude, what Equivocaine? There's no Equivocaine Summit.
I mean, listen, I love that tutorial. I thought it was great.
Before we get into Summit, I
wasn't trying to derail us.
So Stu is actually in the chat. So while Stu is here, because...
What's up, Stu?
Stu, hello. We're going to do this for you. You probably haven't seen it live in a long time. We're going to get Max to do a sniff for Stu.
Yep.
I'm actually going to open up a deck too.
All right. So
my buddy Tanner sent me his deck, the Galactic Paradise. So I'm going to open it up and give a little alien bud a sniff.
All right. I'm going
for an alien. It's a palm tree.
This is the Jerry's Nugget Preview Edition from 2019. I don't know if you can see the text on there. So this was
that was the second one, not the 35th one that they came out with.
Yeah, this was
2020.
This was the one that Murphy's had like put out. I think Magic Live 2 years ago. I guess last Magic Live.
Yeah.
Okay.
So vintage 2019. That was a good year for playing cards. The stock was really, really well. Good weather conditions for paper. So
nice.
Yeah.
That pre-COVID vintage right there.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Let's see it.
Oh yes.
There's a good minerality to it.
Minerality. I like that word.
A little herbaceous for my liking, but that's fresh. That's 2019 if I ever smelt one. That's beautiful.
I love it.
I
would expect no less from someone with a full roll of whiskey. So
he's gonna give it a little taste.
Oh my God, go for it, man! Yeah.
I mean, it is USPCC, so it is.
It's biodegradable, non-toxic. Yeah, so you're looking at sustainable wood and vegetable inks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of
is that
this rich kind of fiber?
It's fiber. Yeah.
Is it Crisco or is it ghee or what is it?
It's more ghee. It's like that clarified butter. Yeah.
Okay.
Very refined. Yeah. I think I'm just munching on this the rest of
Go for it, man.
You're gonna just chomp on some Jerry's nuggets.
Yeah,
dude. I'm always curious with USPCC how like what vegetable ink actually entails. Are they using like when they call it vegetable ink? Is it like the worst vegetable you could ever eat? Is it like beet ink or like what is it? You know, like
it can't be beet ink because the cods will be red.
Well, and that's what I'm like. That's why I'm curious. Like, what kind of vegetable is it? Is it like turnips because they're a neutral color and you could dye them with other things, or like? I'm truly curious what the definition of vegetable-based ink is, but then I realized that like I actually don't care that much, and that's where my ADD kicks in, and I forget to look it up. So,
like I said, like 5 minutes ago, it's not ADD; it's you don't care.
Yeah, it's just don't give a fuck. So
exactly, that's what it comes down to.
God.
Everybody, Tyler said "fuck" before me.
I've said it like 3 times now. I also flicked you off earlier, so I'm winning this episode for you, Steve. Don't worry.
I thought you were just showing me your new nails. I thought you got your nails done.
No, that's the one that doesn't have the nail that grows right. So
you want to know the best way to like distract somebody when they're sticking up their middle finger to you? When they do it, you say, "Oh, you got your nails done?" They always go, "No." Like speaking of ADD, they totally lose like concentration on what they were trying to do. It's brilliant.
Bostonian logic there.
Exactly, dude. It's brilliant. Trust me. Oh, let me tell you something. That's something that a lot of Bostonians do is flip people off.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, it's an East Coast thing for sure. Right. But so, Max, back to some sort of semblance of a topic here. You know, you actually mentioned pre-show that this has kind of been an interesting evolution for you with abstract effects, and you know, obviously not being called abstract effects initially and coming into this name here, but like. What was the actual like point in time where you guys realized you wanted to create this entity, what is now known as Abstract Effects?
Yeah, so
name, by the way.
Thank you.
It really is so good.
Yeah, no, yeah, I appreciate. We're really happy about it, and we really appreciate that you guys love it so much. So I've known Daryl Davis, again, no mustache Daryl, since we were in high school. Like we've been friends forever. Nice. And so, you know, after high school, we were doing our own things. I worked in the kind of construction project management world. And he was working with Opportunity Village for a long time. He was a caretaker and he was loving that, really passionate about that. And so at a point in time, he started getting into magic, you know, and he started working with Daryl Williams, and, you know, they formed the Other Brothers, and they were doing, you know, everything that everyone knows that the Other Brothers are doing, you know, lectures and all the products and all that kind of stuff. And so Daryl Davis called me one night and he's like, "Hey, can you come over? I really need your help. I'm about to go to England tomorrow. I need you to help me with like a little project I'm working on." So, absolutely. So I go over to his house and he has a suitcase, just a, you know, regular suit, big old suitcase, and the largest quantity of Sharpies I've ever seen in one place in my life. And he's just sitting there assembling bear pens before flying to Blackpool. Oh, and so he's just like putting together bear pens, and he's trying to explain the trick to me while it's like way late at night. He's clearly exhausted. And so he's trying to explain the whole thing to me. And it was like a magic trick, and something appears on their hand or out of, you know, I was like, oh, cool, whatever. I'm just helping out however I can. So like busting open the Sharpies and building the gimmick and all that. And so anyway, so that kind of came and went. And then a little while later, they're working on another effect, and same kind of thing where it was Banjo Coin, I think, where Daryl Williams had 3D printed all of them, and he's, you know, we're cleaning them up. And so like, hey, can you come over and help us do this? We have to package them. So we're sitting there like cleaning up these 3D prints and bagging them up or whatever. And so at that point, you know, not right then, but a little bit after, I was talking to them like, can you walk me through what it is that you guys are doing and where you want to go and kind of what your goals are with this? Because I knew that neither of them were trying to go the route of like, I want to have a show on the Las Vegas Strip and be David Copperfield. Or, you know, they weren't really going in that direction. They were doing a lot of consulting, you know, the gimmick side of things, the product side of things. And so after that conversation, I kind of talked to them like, hey, you know, you guys should really start your own business and kind of, you know, do this kind of like a self-producing kind of way. And at that point, they were like, well, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we would lose out on that if we went on our own instead of working for other people. And so I said, you know what, I'll do it with you guys then. You know, if that's what you need, like I can do, you know, they were walking me through like, well, we need someone to manage the finances and someone to do all the contracts and someone to figure out like vendor relationships and sourcing and, you know, all those kind of, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. You know, I like, I have a lot of experience in that. And like, I'd be happy to do that for you guys. and initially thinking it was just going to be like a, let me help you get started. And then it turned into like us just working together, to where our second trick we ever released was, my trick,
Nice.
Maxwell Signature Opener. And so after that, we just fell in love. We called it OB Magic Company. We didn't want to call it Other Brothers Magic Company, because then it would confuse with some of the older projects that they've put out, and we don't want to take away from that. And so, and so then once, so after Maxwell Signature Opener, which was our second trick, we did Snapped first with Justin Flom, and then the Pencil and Sharpie trick. After that, then we decided to start working with other artists, and it wouldn't just be just the Other Brothers putting out magic as the Other Brothers. It would be kind of this bigger thing, this thing outside of just them, which is what they're really wanting to get to, and what we're all really wanting to get to. And that's really just been phenomenal for us. And so at that point, we were getting to work with Nicholas, who's brilliant creator. Obviously, everyone knows.
So awesome.
World class. Like, he's awesome. And so we got to work with him. We've gotten to work with some newer artists like Jamber, who we put out Stasis with, which a lot of people loved. That's like one of our favorites. Getting to work with Mikey V, who did Frost and Abduct and Zoom. And Laura London, and Laura London's not a new artist, but then we get to work with some of the some really good cool names like Laura London and Patrick Kuhn and some of those guys. And so it's been really this kind of fun evolution, getting us to that point where we really want it to not be just about us. And really, when I say us, I really mean the Other Brothers. But we really want it to be about the artists that we're working with, And so this last trick, Seth, with Keynote, we were really trying to get it.
A good one.
It really is a killer gimmick.
Trick. Yeah, so good. But we're just trying to get it to a point where it's like, all right, we have a trick coming out, and no one knows this yet, but we have a trick coming out with Ryan Schlutz. And Saul Sankers, he's the man. We've loved him forever. We've loved him before he even had a company. Always loved him. Even on a personal note, he was one of the first people I ever met in Magic.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
phenomenal dude. I mean, seriously, one of the best. And so, we're doing a project with him that's coming out. Actually, it's going to be our next release now that Keynote's out. And getting to work with those guys and really highlight their work instead of just being like, look what we've done, look what we can do. It's really trying to get it to where we're highlighting something that someone else is doing, because there's so much in Magic that we're so passionate about bringing up and raising up and putting that to the forefront, that we really, really are passionate about getting that to the point where it's not just here's the Other Brothers Magic. It's here's Ryan's Magic, Laura's Magic, David's Magic, Nicholas's Magic. Here's all this really great material. And all we're doing is working on it with them, right? In some capacity or another, whether it's routine, manufacturing, packaging, distribution, marketing, whatever. We get the opportunity, which is it's such an honor too for all of the, even if it's a new artist, we get the opportunity to get to do something to get their name out there in one capacity or another. It's not like we're going to make Ryan Schlutz famous because he's already, you're right, Laura London.
Right.
We're not making fame, right? But we get to highlight something that they're doing, which is something that we couldn't have ever done, right? We would have never come up with Keynote. We have never come up with Stasis. We've never come up with Crimson Deck, right? And so the fact that we get the opportunity to have that in our little brand and to get to promote that out to the world is just the coolest thing in the world. So I went.
And how long does it take from not concept, because that's on the magician side, the creative side, right? But let's say somebody brings it to you and has an idea. How long does it take for you to kind of make it happen from, brand packaging, all that stuff, from when you get it to when it gets released or ready to release?
Yeah. So obviously it varies. With Keynote, it was about, I think Seth approached us about that in November, and it came out in March. So what is that? 5 months or so.
Yeah.
Where in Summit, we've been working on Summit before we were even Abstract Effects.
Oh, well.
Right.
How long have you been Abstract Effects for?
Just over 2 years now. So we've been a company for 3 years. We've been Abstract Effects for 2 years. So nice. Yeah, I mean, we started working on Summit, 2018 or something. So
wow.
Sometimes it just takes a ridiculous amount of time, and sometimes it's quick. I'm trying to think of the quickest one I've ever done. Maybe, Frost was another one. Frost took a good year and a half to put out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, custom printing decks and finalizing what the decks should be, getting all the little details going back and forth, you know. Right. Summit, really the holdup on Summit was actually the packaging. That's what ended up taking Summit so long to go out. And then we were going to release it right at the beginning of, we were almost ready to release it at the beginning of last year. And then COVID hit. And then we had this huge delay on the packaging, you know, getting any kind of prototypes, any kind of samples. And so, but that, you know, I think the fastest we ever put anything out is about 3 months. And longest has probably been like 2 years. So it just varies what we're working on and what we're trying to get with it, you know, and sometimes, you know, a lot of times it works out for the better. Like with Stasis, you know, that was about a year-long project because it was just developing how the card was going to be put together, the exact system of kind of making this gimmick. And there's other things where it's just like Frost, where we're just artwork and cards, but it still takes forever because artwork and cards.
USBCC takes forever.
But they're awesome, and we love them. And Ashley, if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, Tiffany's dope, Nick's dope, Nikki's dope. Like, they're super cool people for sure.
Super cool people.
I just wish they got the machine shit together. That's all I'm saying. The people there, amazing. The machines, not so amazing.
They need a project manager also. They need a project manager to help them get back on track because it seems like their timeline just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. But
but the thing, I think that's the hard thing though. And I'm not speaking defense, like I'm not being paid by USBC. I'm being paid by USBC.
Whatever.
But you know, like it is tough. Like production is a challenge. You know, I mean, we always joke about it where we're like, this is going to take, we can get this done. We literally just had a project. We showed it to you guys the other day when we were talking.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We have a project that we're working on. And we're like, this is going to take us 3 weeks to get out. This is going to be the fastest project ever. And day one, we ran into almost like, we're not even sure if this product's even go out. You know, like it just like,
it better go out. That's for sure.
It's so dope.
Real fast.
Oh my God, that thing, people are in for a treat when that thing comes out. That is for damn sure.
Yeah, we get some good sneak peeks there, and I have to say everything we got shown was phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, production, and that's the thing, like on a small scale in your office at a concept phase, building something out, no big deal. At that whole production level where you're really churning things out and you're trying to make it so you're not hand making every single one of these to send out, you know, a couple hundred orders potentially. That's a whole different story. And especially when there's such fine mechanics that's involved in so many of these gimmicks.
I mean, we're dealing with it right now, you know, just production side of things. I mean, I literally have been waiting 2 months to get a render or a properly drawn up render of a box.
Yeah.
Literally. It's not even the prototype yet. Like we have the box. I know what I want. We have the dimensions. I gave it to them. It was wrong. I had to redo it. I gave it to them again. It was wrong. Now I'm waiting for them to just create it so I can get a 3D render of it. And that's not even like a prototype, you know? So it's just like,
is it a card box or like
it's a collector's box for like a 3-deck collector set. Yeah.
For Vision's playing cards.
For Vision.
Yeah.
I'll have to show it to you.
Honestly, it's so dope, and it's and I can understand why it's taking so long. But yeah, sometimes it's frustrating, and especially because like, and I think that's part of it too. Is a lot of times, especially in the magic industry, especially starting out, you're going out there, you're finding producers manufacturers who can make this stuff, and you don't have an idea of how long it could take. And then you start talking to these people, and it's like this back and forth. I mean, even for simple stuff, the back and forth can take so long. But then once you hit that point, it's like bang, 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 you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and stuff's on a boat being shipped to you. Right. But getting to that point is tough.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of it as well is, you know, a lot of the people we're dealing with are overseas. They're on totally different time zones. It's like when you're sleeping, they're awake. They do the work, and you don't get it until you wake up. You look at it, you send it. They don't send it back until you're sleeping. It's just that's how it works. It takes so much time.
It is a challenge. I will say though, real quick, just as like a little plug, is that actually every I think we've put out 16 effects since we've been a company. Of those 16, I think only 3 aren't handmade by us.
That's amazing.
So almost all of our effects are literally in our office, in our warehouse, like literally physically handmade. I think the exceptions would be like wallet, which was a leather wallet, which we couldn't make.
Why couldn't you make that?
I mean,
Well, yeah, because we suck. Yeah.
see,
Hey,
the funny thing
Daryl
is,
and Daryl,
yeah.
if you're listening, Max can't make a wallet. Get rid of him.
I cannot. But you know what's funny? I actually don't have it on me, but the wallet I use every day is actually Wallet by Nicholas Lawrence, like the wallet. Yeah.
I'm glad he came out with a brown one. He came out. Is it brown?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway.
No, but yeah, like that, and like, you know, gimmick decks like Frost or whatever. Like we haven't, you know, we obviously can't hand make those, but
right.
You know, we were when we really snapped, we were driving to Sacramento to go see Murphy's, just to go, you know, meet, you know, hang out with them and take them out to dinner, that kind of thing. And we had a reorder that we had to fulfill, and so we were like, oh, we'll just bring it to you. And so we're driving to Sacramento from Vegas, like an 8-9 hour drive, and Daryl is in the back seat, just like, you know, cutting everything up, taping things. Like he's just like has like a whole little setup in the back seat of our car, just like making snapped and packaging them up. So, you know, yeah, it is. But yeah, I mean, packaging, obviously, you know, that's usually kind of the hang up with a lot of these things. Or
yeah, you guys have great packaging. I mean, we talked about it, even like the logo in the bottom of the bag, which most people probably don't even notice is there. You know, it's super cool. I like how sleek it is, and
thank you.
It reminds me of like a kind of like an Apple wire, like a wire that you'd get from Apple or something. Wire is not the best word to use, but a cord, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. You know? Well, I'm glad you guys like it. Yeah, it's
very
really
visual, like feel. The packaging's important though too.
Yeah, I mean that's everything, literally.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the packaging that we recognize too, is like with everything is that if you're willing to put in a lot of time, and because it's either that you can spend a lot of money and get something done really quickly, right? Or you can spend a lot of time and a lot of energy and get something done cheaply, or inexpensively. I shouldn't even say cheap, but you know, that was kind of something that we realized is like pretty early on. You know, we were just doing like Snapped, Max Signature Opener, and Blade. I think all came in like black envelopes, right? Yeah. And so after that, I think it was maybe Revolve or Stasis. It was Stasis. I'm sorry. Stasis was like the first time that we released something where we're like, we need to have really cool packaging for this. And yeah, I mean, it took forever. It took for freaking ever. Sizes were wrong. Colors everything was wrong. But, you know, because we realized like this is something we really want to do, we were able to delay it, you know, and push it off because we wanted to have the best end product. And going back to Keynote too, that was another thing where, you know, the original design was really cool. Like if you open up the original design, like if you got that in a package, you'd be like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. It's like this custom laser cut thing and thin, whatever. And you'd be like, whoa, what is this? But as it developed, you know, it turned into this thing where it's like, well, what if you could borrow the key? And then we started to spend all this time and all this energy and all this money into like, how do you get it to be a borrowed key? And then we got to a point where now you have a key that instead of costing 50 cents or whatever, it costs $7, right? Yeah. And there was a moment, and I mean, not even sure if we really made the right decision here, but you know, we still stand by it because ultimately it's a better product because of it. We get hated for it, but now you get a product that looks simpler, right? But the effect now is stronger, that you can take someone's something, and do an effect with it, instead of just like, I have this thing that you can't look at, and then you give me this thing, and, you know, whatever, right? And so, you know, it's a challenge because now it looks like a simpler gimmick, but it costs a lot more to develop, and physically the materials are more expensive, but it looks so simple. And so that's always kind of the challenge that we face. Like when we put out Crimson Deck, someone made a comment on the cafe of like, oh, well, this cost, I don't remember how much it was, $40 or something. Oh, this costs $40 because of the packaging. It's like, well, the packaging is like couple bucks, you know.
Yeah,
like we're not, you know. So that's like always the hard thing, is like the perception versus really what you're getting. So,
and I think a lot of people, and we talk about it during when we do our reviews, but I think a lot of people don't understand the price of knowledge, you know, and that's what it comes down to. Yeah, it does cost $5 to make a deck of cards, and it costs $2 to make a box, or $4 to make a box, depending, or whatever. But what it comes down to is you're not paying ultimately for the box or the deck of cards. You're getting the deck of cards as a treat because you're buying the knowledge that that deck of cards has in it. You know, it's the perfect example is the passport deck, the bicycle passport deck that came out a couple months ago. You know, the deck was $30, and it's a pretty dope deck. It has different, you know, countries' flags on the back of each card. It's not a $30
It's still a standard deck, yeah.
By any means. It's a freaking bicycle deck, you know. But what it came with was what, like 11 different routines, I think. Was it 11?
I think it was 11, yeah.
Damn. And that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that knowledge, and you know,
yeah, because you spend $30 on a gimmick easily, you know. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we've seen some gimmicks.
We've seen some gimmicks that we get that are like $80, and we're like, why did this cost $80?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's you know, pricing, and that's a hard thing. Like pricing stuff is a challenge. You know, like sometimes we nail it, and then other times we're like, man, that could have been one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
But that's a fun thing. You know, we're still young. We don't pretend like we're, you know, big players in this game. You know, when you guys said that you want to do an interview with us, I was like, what? You want to talk? You know, people want to talk to us, right? And so, you know, that's the thing. It's like we're always still learning. You know, we're having fun with it. We're, you know, even though our rule is kind of not to have too much fun, but you know, we're really just trying to enjoy the learning process. None of us know everything. You know, it's 3 dudes. You know, we have a great staff, and honestly, that's who makes it. You know, the guys who are building the gimmicks, our videographer, our editor. Like, there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of things that support the business. That even then, like all of us, we're still just learning how to do this and how to do this right. And so that's where, you know, even when we get bad reviews, even when people trash us, you know, it's still helpful. You know, there's always little tidbits where like, oh, you know what, that's kind of something interesting that we wouldn't have thought about before. You know, if everyone's like, you guys are awesome, we could never really improve on anyone else's opinion except for our own, and that's not always the correct way to go. So yeah, that's
totally true. Tyler has this saying, I'm totally gonna butcher it, so you're gonna have to finish it, but like,
that's fine.
If you don't hear, you know, negative feedback, that's bad, you know, because if you're constantly hearing positive stuff, what do you call them? Yes sirs?
Oh, like yes men? Yeah.
Yes men, yeah, yes men.
Yeah. If all you have is yes men, you're never going to grow, because you're always going to be going in the wrong direction, because the people who you are trusting to give you feedback or help you not jump off the cliff are going to be the ones being like, yeah, go for it. That's a great idea. Like,
right.
Yes men are useless unless you have ego issues. That's the truth of it.
Right.
So,
Tyler and I are no men. Hey, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate the support, man. Thank you.
That's Canadian dollars too. That's
dude
a lot.
Mark is like our homie, eh?
Yeah,
he's like our homie.
He also is a phenomenal breakdancer and
a shoe repairman.
And a shoe repairman. I honestly, Mark is one of the most fascinating people in the community for me, because I have a weird fascination with shoes, and he like every once in a while like does videos of like repairing leather shoes, and I'm like, dude, you just start a YouTube.
And he likes
for hours.
And he likes bathhouses.
Oh,
bathhouse boss. But yeah, that being said, so I think, you know, as you mentioned, a lot of it for you is the ability to kind of have people around you who support the direction you're going, to just make things short there. But where do you, and like you said too, you know, you guys aren't big or looking to necessarily, not big. I think you're a known entity at this point, and I think that's an established thing. Like, I'm pretty sure anyone who's well-versed in the Magic community, you could say, hey, abstract effects, they're going to know who you're talking about, you know? So while it's good that you still see yourselves as small, because I think that mindset where, hey, we're doing this to survive helps drive more innovation. But like, what ultimately like is the direction you do see the corporation going at some point? Is it something where like you want to continue to expand, or do you always want to be that small custom kind of gimmick shop? And not that that's a bad thing. I think there's a lot of variation in the way that proceeds then, you know?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm still like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around like anyone who like, it's hard for me to, I can't even talk right now with that. Like, yeah, we've never really thought about the fact that people really know us or really care about us, you know? So that's really encouraging to know. You know, the direction that we want to go in is really focused in on this kind of middle audience of, you know, we don't want to just, we talked about it early on, like day one, we don't want to just be the company just selling our stuff forever, you know, boutique, which is great. Like, you know, we buy stuff from a bunch of great small individual independent creators, and that's a great way to go, because that's like, you just see that passion and that care in what they do. But we also are a little wary of going the full big, we're going to take on, name, pick your name, right?
Yeah.
Guys, because they're doing such a good job. Like Vanishing, killing it. Penguin, killing it. Illusion, like they're all killing it. What they're doing, they don't need. The market doesn't need another, one of those guys, because they're crushing it. They're doing great. They're doing exactly what they should be doing. Expanding the Magic community, bringing Magic to larger audience, all that kind of stuff. And so we're kind of trying to like snake this, kind of pave our own road in the middle of this, where we're working with other artists, we're bringing on new products, we're taking on new things, but in a way that's going to support the Magic community a little bit larger. And so one of the things that we're actually really, really, really excited about, we've been working on for a while, is we want to start changing the way, and I'm trying to say this carefully because I know that we're not trying to announce it fully yet, but we're going to be trying to really shift in changing the way that Magic is shared and consumed, so to speak.
Nice.
And so in the way that not like on a large scale, not like big gimmicks like something like Summit or whatever, like not in that world, right? In a little bit of a smaller world, again, kind of the in between of am I just making a little thing for you and you're buying it for me, or am I going the route of like this big kind of like big releases like Keynote or whatever that everyone does. So we're going to be kind of trying to shift the way that Magic distributed and shared and thought about. And kind of like what you're saying, Steve, of like, it's the knowledge that has so much meaning, right?
Yeah.
Because if you really care, it's like a download. Like I could show you how to make a gimmick, right? You pay me $5, I'll give you the knowledge or whatever, right? But there's kind of another level there. And so for us, it's really kind of this nice balance where we're really expanding the community, but we're a little concerned because it seems like everything we do kind of piss people off. But I think with this kind of direction we're going, and I realize I'm being super vague, and I don't mean to be, and I can clarify.
That's fine, man. That's fine.
Good. We get it, man.
But yeah,
Nick,
thank you, Nick. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much.
C-Dub homie, fun contribution. I love it.
But we're gonna start reading what everybody writes when they donate, so you guys can write something if it's appropriate. It doesn't have to be totally appropriate, but appropriate enough where it's not offending someone.
Yeah, as long as it's not blatantly offensive in a bad way.
Well, you can offend me all you want. I won't get offended. But if it's offending something or someone in a bad way, we won't read it.
But so, damn, that threw me off because I was going to make a joke about what are you bringing DVDs back to Magic, but damn,
you got it. Yeah.
Damn. But even going back to the whole packaging thing and the knowledge there, the one thing Steve and I always say this, and we say it in our reviews so other people realize it as well, but we say this to each other all the time too. I love the fact that you guys do show how to make the gimmick. You discuss it in every single one of your tutorials where it's realistic to do so. Mm-hmm. And to me, that just goes to show, the quality of the knowledge you're sharing goes beyond just like, here's the thing I'm giving you and I'm telling you how to use it. I'm going to tell you how to use this forever, even if it breaks, because you can go out and figure it out yourself after that. And a lot of magicians don't do that. A lot of products don't do that. And I see a shift in the industry towards that direction, but it's slow. And we just reviewed a product the other day, and it's brilliant, absolutely awesome gimmick. The one huge shortcoming is there's no refills on it. The price
but you got to fucking find it.
You got to find them yourself. There's not it's not something where they tell you where to get it. And if you didn't feel like going through that whole process, you got to go rebuy the gimmick again. And the shitty part about that is, again, the value is in the download, not in the material of what it is. And to me, that's a bummer, because what it's actually doing is it's limiting the longevity and the loyalty of the person to the brand and to the gimmick itself.
Yeah. No, and I think that's such a good point. One thing that we kind of joked about for a long time, we still kind of joke about now, but we have this secret where if you reach out to us and you're like, hey, I have this issue with this gimmick or whatever, we'll just replace it. That's our and we don't have blasted on our website where it's guaranteed whatever. And probably we should actually, I should talk to the guys about that. But you know, like there have been so many times where someone, and even like late, like, I mean, there are people who reach out to us about some early products, even stuff that like we don't make, you know, nothing that came out of our brand that came from like the other brothers brand, or like some convention exclusive or something. You know, people reach out to us like a couple years later or a year later or months later, whatever, and just be like, hey, I had this issue. Or one guy with Summit, he was trying to like modify Summit and he broke it because like, you know, they're Sharpies, they break. And he's like, hey, can I like buy another thing or whatever? And I was like, no, we'll just send you another one, you know? And that's like always our thing is like, if like, so the joke was like, if you email us, you're just going to get shit for free. You know, like that's always kind of like the joke. Yeah. But it's not a joke though, because it is true. Like we've never had anyone.
What's your email?
It's magic@abstracteffects.com.
Magic
at yeah. But for real, like, I mean, reach out to us, because the thing is like our retail site isn't, you know, the website that you go to when you go to abstracteffects.com is not the way that we really make a lot of money. You know, that's why we started the gimmick supplies section, kind of going back to that. How do we make this community? How do we help this community a little bit better? How do we take what we've learned and what we know and use it to the benefit of others? You know, was like with our gimmick supplies section. You know, almost, I think without any exception, I might be wrong, so don't exactly quote me on this. I think maybe the shim could be an exception, but almost everything on there, if you buy a gimmick supply from us, we will lose money on it because we do free shipping and we sell magnets for like whatever it is, $5 or I don't know.
And I heard you send like 50 magnets when people order magnets.
Yeah, and
not every time, obviously, but I've heard you do that sometimes.
Yeah, and we always like that's the thing is like, you know, if we sell 10 magnets, you're never gonna get 10. Like that's this much magnets, you know. Right. But that's things like we, you know, if we're doing free shipping, you're buying something for $5 and shipping's like $5, $6, $7. Like we're guaranteed to lose money on it, but we don't.
Shipping is so expensive.
Who cares? It's $2 now, right? It's $2 that we get to pay. Maybe we break even. You know, good for us. But the thing that we care more about than a couple bucks is the fact that we get to give, you know, someone is doing something with these magnets, you know, making I don't want to get into that, but, you know, making something really cool, maybe something really interesting. And so that's kind of always been our thing is like, we've never shied away from giving as much as we can. And I think that's the hard part is like, you know, we get trash talked a lot and that's fine, you know, because it will make us better. It will, I mean, whatever, but, and there's haters, but you know, like there's always this kind of like behind the scenes stuff that we care way more about. You know, you're not going to see us on the Magic Cafe arguing with people because instead we're focusing on the customer who is doing Summit for a wedding and broke his Sharpie and needs a Sharpie like overnighted to him.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chad.
Thank you, Chad. We appreciate this support.
Man,
offensive.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
I want to sidetrack
you guys.
Chad Long was my first magic lecture I ever saw, and he is to this day he's my favorite. I love Chad. I met him one time, Penguin Max. I'm a huge
Chad, just to let you know, he said that about Kat when she was on here by herself. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, Chad is the man. That was the only person I have like this. I shouldn't say this. I probably shouldn't say this. Maybe I don't know. Since I don't
it's fine.
I don't have like, okay, let me back up. I'm going a lot of different directions here. So yes,
PR. Remember your PR manager.
We love to make sure that everyone's taken care of. We love to give back in any way we can. If you've bought a product from us and you have any issue with it, you're worried about it, it's working perfectly fine, and you just want another one or whatever, like hit us up. We'll take care of you. We love you guys. You make us you let us do what we love to do. On the Chad Long thing though, so when my first Magic convention was Magic Live 2018, and I went to a Murphy's party because I was trying to get to know Murphy's because I'm trying to build this figure out the whole distribution thing. And there's this guy who does a magic trick for me. He's friends with Shimshi, a good friend of mine from outside of Magic, and he's like, hey, this is my buddy. He's do you want to see a magic trick, whatever? And so he shows me his card trick. Blew my mind as an ACAN or something. It blew my mind. And I went around Magic Live forever, like the whole 3 or 4 days, telling people about this dude. And I'm trying to explain him, like describe him to people. He's friends with Shimshi and whatever. And I'm trying to explain the trick. And they're like, are you talking about Ozzy Wynn's ACAN? Like, is it Ozzy Wynn that you're trying to explain? And I'm like, Yeah, I think his name was Ozzy, and I have no idea I had no idea who he was. And there have been so many moments in my whole time with abstract effects and with the other brothers where I'm just like blatantly embarrassing myself, not knowing who any of these people are. But Chad Long, when I saw him in Penguin Max, I was like full fangirl. Like I was like nervous talking to him. Like
one of the
push me. No, fanboy. Yeah. Fanboy. But yeah, I was like nervous to go up and talk to him. So
that's okay. Tyler got nervous when we had Daniel Buck on.
Listen, there's some people that just it does it. I get that, and that's good though. I mean, it's good that again, not knowing all the names and faces of Magic, that there are still people who even for you, you're just like, oh damn, like it's Chad Long.
It's Chad Long. He's the best.
Chad, we're gonna have to hit you up, man.
Yeah, we'll have to. Actually, you know what? We'll just kick Max off, and you can come on.
Dude, that's fine.
I'm totally kidding.
I'm fully okay with that. I would still sit here and watch it and have a good time.
No, dude. He'll have his own show at another time. This is all about you. And we've actually had a few people ask, but it wasn't the time to start asking questions yet. What are you drinking? People want to know what you're drinking.
What were you drinking? Yeah. What did you pour yourself?
So right now I'm having some bourbon. So Pappy Van Winkle. It's a 20-year-old family reserve bourbon.
Nice.
Probably going to switch it up, move to Scotch after this, but it's like kind of the end of the bottle. So I'm like, I figure I'd just kill it and move on to something else. So yeah,
nice, man.
Only way I could get through one of these things. So
nice. Are we that difficult to talk to?
Oh,
yes.
No, probably, but that's fine. Oh man, what's your go-to whiskey?
Man, that's a good one. So I really like Macallan 15. That's like really been hitting the spot lately.
Nice.
Really Scotch. Like I love that kind of line.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So like I love I like all of I don't know which way I'm pointing. All of these are Macallan. So I got like the 12-year-old double oak, triple oak, concept number 1, and then edition 2 through 6, and then Macallan 18.
Pretty colors.
Yep. Yeah, they're very colorful. And then
do they have numbers on them, like limited edition seals and stuff?
I see the Johnny Blue in the top there. I see some makers. Let's see what else you got here that I can easily pick off.
You guys are a bunch of nerds.
Got some Japanese over on the other side,
nice.
And then one guy, and then a Scotch. I guess kind of mix and match over there. Yeah.
Nice.
Next time you're out, pick up a bottle of Oban 14. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So you're more of the Isla Scotch then?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I like to dabble a little bit everywhere, but if like Oban's my go-to.
I like hopscotch.
Hopscotch, that's fun. It's always good.
I don't drink, so that's about as all I can contribute to this conversation.
No, that's good. So you just drugs that's it? No,
yeah, pretty much.
Steve's drug of choice is matcha or yerba mate. There you go.
Mate. Yeah, mate.
Mate. So, oh my god, dude, a good Scotch is always nice, especially on like I don't know, any time of year. I was about to say like a nice summer day. I love sitting outside actually like mid-fall, beautiful day, pour myself a Scotch, relax, and just like watch the sunset.
Dude, yeah. So my wife and I went to Scotland and did a whole like whiskey trail tour all through Scotland. Got to see all the distilleries, like do the tastings everywhere. It was awesome. It was nice. We had a great time.
Dude, it's funny because I'm a photographer and I like take a lot of photography shots for wineries in Napa.
Okay.
So I'm constantly getting free bottles of wine, like 40, 50, 60, $80.
I'll trade you magic tricks for Napa wine.
The only problem is I can't ship it. Like I literally have bottles of wine like sitting in my closet.
I mean, you can ship it as long as you don't go USPS, and if you're not selling it.
Yeah, but there's special ways to ship it. I don't want to get involved in that shit. Next time you come to California, you can have them. I have literally 12 bottles of wine in here that I'm not doing.
Where in California are you, by the way?
I'm in Petaluma. It's right where Illusionist is.
Petaluma. All right.
It's near the Bay. It's in the Bay Area.
Okay, so you're up north. You're near Murphy's and
I'm literally like well, now I'm about 2 hours from Murphy's, but
Okay.
I was in Davis, which was like 20 minutes from Murphy's.
Yeah, Petaluma doesn't even come up on maps, so it's like doesn't even exist.
Well, you know what? It's your loss.
Yeah.
It's your loss.
We'll come hang out because we've been trying to do a trip up to Sacramento or Rancho Cordova, so we'll have to all get together. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Chad just says his version of Stasis is about to drop.
I would, dude. Yeah, we will let Chad hit us up. We'll give you a quote.
So, dude, which is your favorite trick / gimmick that you guys have put out, other than the new one that you're gonna be dropping?
So I don't know. I want to try to find something a little bit more interesting than this, but genuinely, okay. So I have two. So I have my boring one, my less boring one. So Summit is legitimately my favorite thing we've ever put out. I think also Daryl Davis's as well. Like, I just love because the first time I ever saw it, I saw it as, as a spectator, and it just is so, I don't know. I love that whole premise. I love that whole thing. But so that's my favorite that we've put out. My real favorite trick though, my underground, is called Outsiders Deck. It's we only sell it at conventions, and it is awesome. It is the only trick to demo, unless I have to demo other stuff or whatever. But love that trick. It's we'll probably never distribute it for a lot of reasons. But that's Outsiders Deck is my favorite trick we've ever put out for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah,
and
Outsiders, huh?
You mentioned that you had a lot of opportunity too to really work with great big and small creators within the community. Are there some creators that you really like goals you have to work with?
Other than Tyler and I.
Please, you do not want to put out any sort of magic trick.
That's
trick we came up with. Yeah.
I can pretty much make my water disappear. That's about it.
and then reappear a couple hours later.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Oh man, I feel like this is the first question that's come up where I'm like, this would probably be an Other Brothers question, because for me, I love the people that we get to work with. Everyone
good, though, man.
We've gotten to work with has been awesome, and I'm not the kind of I'm not a big No, that's a dumb. No, duh. What am I saying? Chad Long, obviously Chad Long. What am I?
There you go. Excluding obviously. Chad, but no, and I think that's good though, because honestly, from a creator point of view, everyone should be on a level playing field. It should be about the effect, not the name behind it, because honestly, that's how you get into the trap of putting out a shit trick with a great name attached to it.
Right.
There's plenty of those out there. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's been really cool is we don't have to, no one's expecting us to put out a big name trick. Right. The thing that for me though, is really, I think the focus should be on what is the spectator's experience going to be for this trick.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm always really shocked at the way that Magic is looked at in reviews in the cafe and whatever, just how it's perceived in the world that we're in, that rarely is anyone ever really looking at what the spectator's experience is going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe easy to do for you, but doesn't look good for them. Maybe, real challenge, or it may have this component that you don't like, but do they care? Does it matter to the spectator? Right. One of Daryl's favorite tricks that he loves to do, a little card trick, he just literally laps a deck of cards at the end of it, and it blows every single person he's ever showed. He just blows their minds. And the whole method is just lapping a deck of cards after he's done with the card trick, right? And so, you can never sell that. You can be like, oh, here's the trick. Just throw a deck of cards onto your lap and call it a day. But that's the thing for me is I think there's so much value in what the spectator sees. Yeah. And the spectator's not going to be like, holy crap, was that such and such magician? Doesn't matter. Right. Yeah. No one's going to be like, whoa. And that's the thing for me is if it's a good trick, if it hits all the kind of components that we like and like to see, doesn't matter who it's from, because it's not going to matter to the spectator.
Right. Yeah, no,
100%. Sure. Well, and I think, that's actually a great point too. You mentioned a lot of times with these gimmicks, the things people focus on is, a component of it isn't that great, or they didn't like the way this was done or that was done. And, you know, we talked a little bit about this pre-show that in reality for magicians, like very few magicians out there, true magicians, professional performing magicians, are buying an off-the-shelf gimmick and saying, I'm going to go out and perform this exactly like they did in the trailer because it's exactly what it's for. And to me, the fact that you build a gimmick and people say, I would have done this, this, and this better is actually great because it shows that you're encouraging people's creativity with what you produced. And so many people give you hate for that. And it's like, dude, if you wanted something perfect, first off, the perfect gimmick just doesn't exist. That's not a real thing. There's nothing out there that's going to be 100% mind-blowing 100% of the time with an instantaneous reset and no angle issues. Like, that's just not a thing. But like, that's what magicians seem to like compare every gimmick out there in their reviews against, this false ideal. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, like for Steve and I, like we're both, you know, on a good day, beginner magicians. Me, I personally like to be a professional spectator because I love just having my mind blown. And for us, that's what it's really about. Like, are you going to have fun learning this? Are you going to enjoy knowing this gimmick and using it? Are the spectators going to get a good reaction out of it? And at the end of the day, is all of that value worth what the price tag is? And honestly, sometimes the answer is yes. And sometimes the answer is no, in spite of that different perspective, because sometimes there's things out there that are just like ridiculously expensive, and it's not something that necessarily in and of itself is going to give an effect that a spectator has. And I think that's part of it too, is like, to me, as much as there's gimmicks with routines attached, and there's gimmicks that are part of a toolkit that maybe don't come with a routine or really aren't meant to be something that like is wowing, but you can use it to build on top of. And I think like just people want that like TikTok magic. Like, here's my pack of gum that that changes in front of your eyes. And okay, that's all well and good, but like, that's not what a professional magician is looking for.
Sure. So. Yeah. And it's always a tough thing, right? You have to be able to address different markets at different times. And so, Keynote, Summit, I can go on for like, none of our tricks are going to hit every market, right? Yeah. And there are times where you get something where, you put something out because you thought it was going to reach this market, right? The kind of social media market. And then it takes off in a different world that you wouldn't expect, right? People are using it in mentalism now and like serious magic and that sort of thing. And the other way around, where you put some, like Punched was a great example with David Michael Fox, who's awesome and brilliant and we love him. But when we put that out, we were like, I don't know who's gonna, we were like really struggling with like how many people are gonna want like a cheaters, gamblers kind of device, that's like, it's cool. You can do a million infinite things with it. But like who, that's not really like social media magic, right? It's a very niche kind of magic, and it's killed. We've like sold out. It's just killing and killing, and we're like, those are the kind of the surprises that we get. We're like, oh, okay, great. Because there's so much you can do with it, and it's encouraging when we see that. When we see it on kind of both sides, where professional, kind of the guys who are doing this as their full-time deal. Using stuff that we would imagine is only being used for social media, but they've taken it and developed it to the routine, and vice versa, where someone's taking something that would be for this kind of like underground gambling thing and using it for social media and doing these kind of cool effects with it there. So that's always really, really encouraging to us to see that and to see that creativity. We always love every single trick we put out. We're so excited to see what people come out with because it's things that we would have never thought of, right? Yeah. Things that we never put in a tutorial, never taught, never showed, didn't have any idea that you could do. And we're like, holy crap, that's amazing. And
that's why collaboration is so important, right? That's why like you don't have to show other people beforehand, but that's why like getting it out there and having people look at it and use it is so fun and important because you're seeing new things, and like you said, when you, in your mind, you're like, this trick, this gimmick is gonna kill it. And you put it out and it just doesn't do that well. Yeah. And then you put out something where you're like, yeah, people might, receive it pretty well. And then it just crushes. So you really don't know. We see it all the time on Kickstarter with decks. Some decks we look at and we're like, that's not going to fund. And then all of a sudden it's like $30,000 over its goal. And you're like, people love it, and that's the cool thing about people just liking different things, and there's different things for different people. So it does surprise us, and I think that's the fun part about it, right?
It is, yeah. And that's the whole idea of the customer is always right. It's usually kind of misunderstood, but the idea behind that is not that, if someone yells at you, like they have a right to yell at you, but it's, the market will always tell you the direction that you should be going in, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're like, I have to be putting out social media, whatever, I have to be putting out this genre of magic because that's what's popular and no one's buying it, it's not because, you suck or whatever. It's just the market doesn't want that, And so you always have to kind of figure out, like, what does the market want? What do magicians really want? What are they willing to invest their money in because it's worth it to them, and kind of follow that. So yeah, that's definitely really interesting to look at and kind of see the business through.
Yeah. And so it's all about intention, right? You put that intention out there, you put whatever it is out there, and you have certain intentions, and it could be perceived differently, or we see it all the time. Especially when so many people are having access to these things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, kind of touching on that too, where, we talked a little bit about the market kind of dictating whether or not there's an acceptance of what you're trying to sell there. You ever feel that the reception is even better than what you anticipated it to be, and maybe you underpriced what you're selling?
It's kind of it's tough. I think my knee-jerk reaction is to be like, nope, because if like one person says something bad about it, I'm like, well, we clearly failed. But knowing that that's not true, I don't think we've ever really underpriced. I'm trying to think on that note. Maybe Blade was a little underpriced, but I mean, really nothing much. I think where we've really been surprised is like Snapped was the one that surprised us the most to this day, because we thought we were going to get, because it was our first trick. So we're like, if everyone hates it, well, the company tanks, and we never even had a company anyways, right? One trick, done. And so, but we all really, really thought that trick was going to be the start and end of our company for sure.
Interesting.
And, we talked to people about it, and we've had, people like really high up in the magic world, like big names telling us like, this is really not a good, like, this is not a good trick. This is something that you may sell 25 of. That was a number that because we asked someone who works in this world of distribution and all that. We said, how many do you think we could sell of this? He said, you might be able to sell 25. And we just this week shipped another reorder of our it's still like 2.5 years later, we're still, we shipped out another few hundred of that. And like,
that's
we're
awesome.
Just, and that's the thing. It's like, it blows, but it still blows our mind. Where we're like, we're trying to figure out like, what was the secret sauce there? And so we talk to people and try to figure it out. And
it's called lucky.
I think honestly, that's what it is.
Yeah,
like
it's called, people loved it. It's like if a famous musician brings a song to somebody else, like a songwriter brings it to someone, and they're like, nah, I don't like that song. And then it goes to a different artist, and then all of a sudden it's a fucking quadruple platinum song. And the person who originally had the chance to get it is like, fuck, I probably should have took that song. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
The greats can say it's going to be terrible, and then it just kills. Like, I don't know.
I mean, everything in life is speculation to some point, and that's really luck, speculation, and timing, to be honest. But we actually had a good question from Chad here too, kind of along the lines of building out these gimmicks and tricks. Do you guys always start with an effect in mind, or do you sometimes just play and notice that things start to develop?
Almost. So unless we're working with an artist's creation, it's almost always just playing and see what comes up. There have been a lot of instances where it's just like playing and something comes up. So yeah, that, and also there's kind of like a second answer there of a lot of it comes kind of from the ideas that we're working on in consulting. When we're working on like a TV show or something, and they're like, hey, we'd really love if this bigger thing can happen where we can spend, $50,000 or $100,000 on this, and if we do it, it's awesome. We, whatever. We work through the process, and we're like, man, I wonder how we can make that into like something that's this big and cost $30 or whatever, right? Yeah. And so yeah, it's a really good combo. But yeah, I mean, rarely, only in the instance we're working with an artist, do we ever start with an effect in mind to try to get to that point. There are a couple of tricks that we have kind of in our like backlog, always kind of thinking about, where we're just waiting for technology to come about, or some kind of hardware that we can use to fit this thing. But most of the time, it's just like this kind of, we spend a lot of time at Walmart and the dollar store. I'll tell you that. That's where most of our time is spent, either at the dollar store, Walmart, or just at the office, like just doing stuff, building or working on business or whatever. But yeah, that's a really good question, because I think that's such an interesting thing to think about, the way that you address magic. Like, are you trying to accomplish something specific, or are you trying to see what you can do with something in that moment?
Yeah. Nice. Now, where's like the weirdest place?
I'm right back. I need water.
Okay. Where's like the weirdest place you've gone, or where you've been, or the Darryls, I'm gonna call them. Where's the weirdest place you guys have been where you've thought of a trick, a gimmick, or something, and had to stop whatever it was, or had to call, or like whatever? Where was like the weirdest place?
That's a really good question. A lot of our ideas come while we're on car rides. We famously don't show up places on time because we're just like, we can't drive. Like, we realize, like, if we need to get somewhere on time, we can't drive together, because we'll just like talk, and then idea comes about, and we're like missing exits. And there's one time where one of the Darryls and I, we had to go grab a saw or something from the hardware store, and we're having this conversation. We walk into the store, we're walking in, have this conversation, and we're like, we've been in the store for a couple of minutes, and we're like, we're in a furniture store right now. And just like, like that's kind of where we go, is like, we're not even in the right place, because we just get so into those conversations. I'm trying to think like a weird place though. That's kind of a funny question, because we don't go to that many weird places.
But like, have you ever been in a weird place, like a furniture store, and like sat down on like a sofa and chairs and literally sat there for like an hour and a half talking about a gimmick or planning something out?
Yeah, I always want to try to keep it like interesting and fresh and exciting, but like honestly, Walmart, like we've spent hours at Walmart. There's one trick that we hope to one day put out, and like a year ago, I think a little over a year ago, it was right before COVID. I think it was Gerald Williams. He found this thing that was like, it was like an office supply kind of deal, and he was like, dude, what if you could, put this in here and blah, 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 to kind of walk through this whole thing. And Daryl too was like, oh yeah, well maybe. And then we get some scissors, and we run up and buy them and go back into Walmart, and he like starts cutting up this thing. And so we're just standing in like the office supplies or whatever aisle of Walmart. And it was a long time. And we just kept like buying stuff, running up, coming back, cutting things up, putting things together. And it was just like this back and forth where, it was really cool to see them work. I think that's the fun thing for me that I get to have, is like seeing the way that their minds work. Because I'm not really creative in that way, of that design development way. And so that's really fun getting seen. But yeah, I think Walmart, that's kind of where we spend the most time, is also where the weirdest place where we spend a lot of time.
Yeah, no,
it's weird. Walmart's awesome. They have everything,
That's funny. What's the most frustrating gimmick or trick that you guys have put out?
Yeah, like frustrating as in the build, or
like the most frustrating project where you're like, fuck this thing, let's not even just put it out. And then obviously you end up putting it out, but you just get to that point where it's just so frustrating working on it that you're just like.
It was definitely Summit. Summit was the most challenging. Yeah, that sucked. We were all so passionate about it that, if we all didn't love it so much, we wouldn't have put it out. But gosh, man, that sucked. That sucked to put out. Like, every part of the process, we had to buy like 6 new 3D printers just for that project. So we've been 3D printing before Summit.
Yeah.
And then when Summit came up, we just like ran into all these issues. We're like, let's just buy 6 more 3D printers, put them in the bank, like do the whole thing. And even then it was just like, gosh, so the 3D printing sucked. The cards took forever. The packaging was a nightmare. No part of Summit worked well. Like, it was such a challenge to put out. We only put it out because we were just like, we cared so much about it. So I would definitely say that one. Yeah.
That's funny. I absolutely love Summit, but I'm very, very biased because I'm a big fan of Sharpie. Like, I love Sharpies. I do a
Steve has a good
project.
personal connection with Sharpies for a long time now.
I literally have a photography project that uses Sharpies, and I've been doing it for 10 years. So it's like,
awesome.
I have Summit hanging up over there because it's so dope. And obviously I don't get all Sharpie gimmicks because most of them are garbage, but I definitely have Summit for sure.
Yeah. We always joke, we're gonna, at some point, we're just gonna be like the Sharpie Magic Company or something. It's like we have like Bear, Maxwell Signature Opener, we have Summit. So we have 3, and then we're working on 2 other tricks that happen to be Sharpie tricks. And so the worst part is like, you have to like, any trick that we've ever put out, you always have to like take apart the Sharpie. And they changed the Sharpie. Have you noticed this, Steve?
What?
The Sharpie is different. Like the last.
On Summit?
No, all Sharpies now, like the production, the physical plastic they use is different than it used to be.
Okay, so like the plastic itself.
Yeah. So if you were to, before the first couple of projects we did with Sharpies, you could just take the black, take the cap, take the barrel, kind of do the little back and forth, whatever.
Right. Okay.
And they changed it and when we bought all the Sharpies for Summit, where it's like this really, really tight, but really brittle plastic. And so I think we had like a 40 or 50% loss rate on Sharpies.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Really? That's tough.
So easily. And so that's why we're,
Now what? Oh, interesting. That is interesting.
So another thing, right? It's like 3D printing, Sharpies, cards, packaging, everything went wrong with that project. Reception, people hated it, all of it, right? Everything.
I don't know how anybody can hate that fucking thing. That is brilliant. It is so easy. It is so like, here's the thing. All right. If you're a magician, okay, if you're a magician, I don't even call myself like, I'm a super beginner, but I saw like the trailer and I'm like, okay, I know how it's done. But at the same time, I'm like, but I don't notice it. I don't see it. I don't, it's fucking brilliant. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah. We appreciate that. Yeah, it is fun. It is a great trick. And, we're still super proud of it. It's still it's always going to be one of our favorites, if not our favorite, like definitely on the top. We're always going to stand behind it,
Yeah.
And we get it. There are some things in the trailer that could have been clarified, and for sure. And, we've gone through all that. We did, went through all that. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But that's the fun part of this whole thing. Even when something that you care so much about for so long gets kind of a bad reception, kind of gets hated on, it's still like you're just happy it's out there, right? You work through the Sharpie problems, you work through the card problems, you work through the 3D printing problems, you work through the packaging problems, and you're just stoked it's out there. Like, you just to hold it in your hands feels so good. And the people who love it, there's no one who bought it and was like, nah, right? Like, people who got it because they loved it, because they loved the effect, because they knew what it's going to feel like for the spectator.
Yeah, for sure.
Got it. And those are the people who were like so happy that they love it, right? Like, if you hate it, that's fine. Like, that's totally
I think a lot of people hate it because they're just salty. Like, they're salty and they don't even want to like it, even though they probably deep down inside are like intrigued and they want to love it, but they don't want to like it because they're just salty. And there's a lot of salty people in the community. That's for damn sure.
I mean, I can be salty sometimes, so I get it.
We all can. We all can. I'm salty sometimes. There's some companies that I don't carry in my shop because I'm salty. But whatever. It is what it is. Yeah.
I mean, buy what you like, and I think that's a fun thing for us is like, because we're not trying to get to that like big level of like we're gonna be Vanishing Penguin, whatever. Like, we're just like, we want to really make sure that the people who get our stuff because they're interested in it fall in love with it, and there's so many decisions we make that we know it's like, this isn't going to be the best for mass reception, but the people who really are interested in this kind of thing are going to absolutely love it. Yeah. And that's so meaningful. That's so much more meaningful to us than, trying to make everyone be like, no, yeah, it's good, cool, whatever. We'd rather have just a handful of people be like, yes, that's what I want. This is something I'm put in my, my wheelhouse and love and enjoy and have fun with, because that's why we did this. We really love the community. We really love to see the magic, see the joy that comes with magic. And I think ultimately that's what it's about, right? Magic isn't, it's not about it's not about the name on that side of things. It's about the joy that it brings other people, right?
Yeah,
it's about us. It's about them. No one who sees any of our magic tricks, at least spectator side, non-magician side, laymen are going to be like, oh, that's abstract effects, right? We don't do it because they'll never know us, but ultimately, like, that's who we have in mind, is like we get to do something that's going to make that someone that will never know us, will never know who we are, will never know them, like, smile and laugh and have like a little bit of interest, a little bit of surprise, and like that's just such a cool thing that we even have an opportunity to do, or the honor to get to do. Like, that's just
like Tyler was talking about it earlier. Basically we were talking about prices for things, right? Where it's like, and this is the only time where I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter how much it costs. If you make people smile, it's fucking worth it. And of course you don't want to pay $100 to just make one person smile, but if you save their life, would you pay $100?
Right.
So, and we never know what people are going through, and we say that all the time when we're on the show.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, if you make people smile with that $100 gimmick or whatever, then it was worth it.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay $50 to make someone smile, but
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's such a a weird thing to try to put a price on, right? Because like, who is it that, like you were saying, like, is it going to save their life kind of smile, or is it like in passing, like, oh yeah, that's cool, whatever, grin, and move on? So but like, how do you put a price on any kind of bringing any kind of joy to someone's life, even if it is like a passing thing? Like, how is that not worth as much as, but yeah, then how do you put a dollar value of like, this is my income going into this thing that I'm investing in?
Yeah.
So it's always a challenge to try to put a price on something, but we're learning, trying to get better at it, and
Dude, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Keep growing in it. Keep doing what you're doing. Head in the right direction. Again, like I've told you multiple times now, you have haters. That means you're doing it right. If everyone loved your stuff, again, you just got yes men. You don't want that. You want you already mentioned even earlier. That there's different client bases you're trying to reach. That's step number one. Figure out who you're trying to sell your products to. We see this all the time with playing cards. We see this all the time with basically everything. People come out the gate and they're like, this is for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. Exactly. Water's not even for everybody. There are 50 million different brands of water. It's the same shit. But some people love Pellegrino versus this versus that. Like, you have to know your market. And then on top of that, like, just knowing that people are getting, I don't want to say people are getting upset about it. I don't know to what level people get upset or don't get upset about things, but the fact that people feel passionate enough, even in a negative light, to speak out against things or for things means you're stirring emotion, which is one thing that all products need to do to succeed. So you guys are crushing it, no doubt about it. And Steve and I are always excited when we get to take a look at one of the abstract effects, like gimmicks that are coming out, because tutorials are killer. You guys do a great job with it. You make it fun. Steve literally has the attention span of an ant. He can't make it through some 20-minute tutorials, and we've sat there and watched like 40. No joke. Let's
be honest. Some of those 20-minute tutorials are hard to get through.
They really are.
If they're interesting and they're fun, dude, I can get through an hour, 2 hours. Dude, I sat through Shin Lim's tutorial for an hour and 20.
That was a long one. Dude, I think people, well, that's the thing, and this is what I think you guys do great about though too, is that the other brothers have a personality where they can teach things and they're entertaining. No one wants to go. We've heard this go different ways, and personally for me, I don't want to sit there for an hour and feel like I'm sitting in a high school lecture, because that shit's just boring. Like, I've never had a passionate teacher in high school because they wanted to be there less than I did. Like, that's never exciting.
Hey, yo. Thank you so much, buddy.
What up, Mateo? We appreciate it, man.
You didn't even write anything either.
We appreciate the support, Mateo. Thank you, man.
Mateo! Dude, that kid, I swear, he is like...
He's next level.
he is gonna do a fucking trick or gimmick for
we
you
are
guys.
all going to either work for him or at
Yeah.
least like go to his show or work for like buy
or make fun of him. It's gonna be one or the other.
I mean, it's gonna be both. It's gonna be both. Yeah. No, Mateo's gonna be laughing at us from stage.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we love that kid.
He is so brilliant.
Wait. We love Mateo.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
I want to be like, he just needs better posture, but I just realized it's because he's like little. So
yeah.
not that that's a bad thing, Mateo.
He's like 12.
Yeah.
He's 12. Yeah, like it's fine.
I like how there's 3 grown men here picking on a 12-year-old.
Oh, dude, here's the thing, because he's gonna dish it right back. No question about it. But yeah,
there's not very many 12-year-olds that can fucking like hang with this crowd. That's the damn sure.
But no, and like you said, you guys are really, to swing it back around, you guys you bring an entertaining product, but you bring a knowledge-filled product. You bring a product that people enjoy. I wish more tutorials were entertaining. And what blows my mind about it is magicians, by definition, are entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
These people who are teaching their own tricks sometimes, it's like they don't realize that it's the same damn thing as when they're performing. You got to be entertaining. You got to be engaging. Like, you're a professional magician. If now I'm sitting here being like, all right, I can't make it through 20 minutes of this dude explaining how like his namesake trick is going to pop off. Like, why would I ever think that you're a competent magician because you can't perform like it? I think people forget that sometimes. And I really wish magicians would bring that passion to every tutorial, because again, the other brothers bring it to every single tutorial for stuff that's not even necessarily their invention, which I think is awesome.
And I think that's the difference between people who love what they do and people who are just doing it to get money, and we see that with costs for gimmicks sometimes, or whatever it may be. But I think, let's say this: if you are not that type of person that can bring that energy and entertainment into a tutorial, have someone else do it.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Send it to Abstract Effects. Have the other brothers do your tutorial for you. No.
Love of God, yes.
Seriously though, like I think, if I'm a firm believer in, if you can't do something, give it to someone who can do it and do it well. So you don't have to be the face of your gimmick, trick, whatever it is. We understand that you want to be, but you don't have to be. It's still your trick. Give it to someone that can deliver it way better than you can, and it'll be that much more powerful.
Dude, without a doubt. But so one of the other things that, I know we kind of want to touch on, and you had mentioned it earlier, was the even more behind the scenes side of magic, the consulting side of things. And you guys do a pretty good amount of consulting in addition to running Abstract Effects. How did you kind of get involved in that market? I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't realize is a viable business for magicians, not just performing.
Yeah, so consulting is really an interesting world of magic that ties in really nicely with entertainment, with business, and with that kind of creative mind to solve problems and make things happen. The execution side of things. So I have to give all the credit to the other brothers for really getting involved in this early. The way that this all started was they had got, and I'm probably going to butcher this a little bit, but they had started working on a project for Shimshi, brilliant magician, great performer. We all love him. He moved to Florida and ditched us, but they were working with him, and through that, we're able to gain. And I know a lot of people hate this word, but it's so important and so valuable. And I feel like done the right way, it's really important. Really especially important is exposure. Like, they gained a lot of exposure working with Shimshi for a show on the Win. They got involved with other magicians in Vegas, and then from that got involved in TV, and then from that got involved in, and so it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And the thing there is that it wasn't just like someone saw me or heard about me. It was that we had developed, and I don't even want to say we, really early on was them. The other brothers had developed such great relationships with the people they were working with and everyone on the staff. Because it wasn't like the main dude. It wasn't like Steve Wynn from the Win was the guy who recommended them to someone else, right? It was staff that was working on the project. And they had made such a good lasting impression on them, working so well with them and doing so much with them, that it led them into new and bigger and better projects. I won't say better, but just more projects. And so the consulting side, I've gotten to get involved with them over the last couple of years. We did the Dynamo special over in the UK, working on a TV show right now. That can't talk too much about, but pretty stoked about. There's going to be a pilot airing, I think, sometime later this year.
Nice.
And then a bunch of like live stuff, Jen Kramer, we've gotten to work with a bunch, and she's amazing. And if you guys haven't seen her, if you have a good chance to come to Vegas, check out Jen Kramer. She's just a great person, great personality. Done a bunch of stuff with Piff, and I just like a lot of these great magicians here in Vegas that are wonderful people to work with, wonderful performers, and just great talented people. And so the fact that we even get to sit beside them and work with them is just such an honor and such a treat. We really enjoy the consulting for performers a little bit more than we enjoy the kind of bigger consulting like TV and network television, movies, and that sort of thing.
I'm sure it's a lot more personal.
It is. And that's the thing that we love, is that personal connection, instead of just like, there's 30 people that we have to run an idea through, and there's the budget and the execution and the contracts and the legal insurance and all that kind of stuff, wherein, you can just sit in front of someone and be like, what would be dope, but it's that's kind of the big thing. Getting into it was really just like, being on all the time, developing those great relationships with everyone involved in the production, and just really putting yourself out there. It's a lot of work. It's not just like pointing and telling people what to do and like, oh, do a double lift over here. It's not like that, right? There's so much that gets involved. Every time we take on a consulting project, we usually have to bring extra people on. It's usually not just us, because there's so much that has to be done. We have to bring on builders. We have to bring on different subcontractors, pull in different vendors, get some, it's just, there's so many moving pieces with that. And it turns out to be a really big thing where at the end of it, you think like, oh, wow, whatever it was, like, oh, a couple $100,000 or whatever. But you don't, at the end of the day, like, you don't really get a lot of that, because a lot of that has to be spent to make it happen.
Production, man.
That's the most important thing, is making it happen no matter what. Right. And so,
I mean, that's why Lady Gaga's tour, like 10 years, well, maybe 8 years ago, like she went on tour, sold out every arena. Mm-hmm. But after the end of the tour, she was like this close to claiming bankruptcy. It's because they do all this lavish stuff and, have vision in their head. Visions now on Kickstarter. They have, these ideas, and, they execute them, and then they find out that all the work that goes into it costs more than the amount of money they got.
Yep. And that's always the challenge, man. I mean, in any kind of consulting, that's always the challenge. And that's where you have to be really careful about understanding the needs versus the budget. I'm getting really boring here, but when you really dive in, you have to make sure you're very clear about on the whole team side. Because you can talk to one producer and they'll have different needs as far as it goes to pertaining to like the budget and what they're willing to spend and what timeline and what they're wanting to accomplish with it, versus another producer who has a vastly different opinion of that. So they have to be really careful about that and really upfront about that. It's not just going to be like, oh, we'll make whatever happen. It's, we can do whatever you want as long as the budget, timeline, and expectation, the budget and timeline are correct. And from there, usually the budget or timeline are a little bit tighter, and you have to take the expectations and maximize it.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate the support, man.
Mark, thank you so much.
Mark. So yeah, that's a big part of it. And then just continue to develop those relationships, because it's tough. It gets heated. We get into a lot of arguments. There's a lot of tension that builds, when you're working that closely every day with people you don't know and a big group of people. So you have to really be on top of it. And it's not as much fun as you'd think, but it's worthwhile. It's really satisfying to see your stuff go up on stage or on TV or in a movie or something. That's always satisfying.
Yeah, it's always fun hearing those stories, but I want to hear the fun stories.
Yeah.
What is the biggest disaster that you've had to go through, and what was it for? all that other stuff is great. That's awesome, but I don't care about that. I want to hear the other stuff.
Man, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
Excuse me. Abstract Effects PR, can we talk about it? Yes. Okay, they said yes.
Yeah, so we were working on. Give me like 1/2 a second to kind of think about how.
Think about it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, you can be political about it. Cover what you need to cover. The redacted version.
go bankrupt for lawsuits here.
Right? Yeah, you don't have to say names or anything.
So we were working on a large network television show, and there was, again, kind of going back to the idea of like you have to set expectations early. There are expectations set by the people, the producers that we thought were, kind of the final decision makers. So we were going that route, going that direction, moving in getting the builders set up, getting all the designs approved, all that kind of thing.
Right.
And then at some point, when there was another individual involved who was brought on specifically to look at budget, did not care about the end product. They got involved and completely just started to shift things around, starting to pull in their own people. We got into big arguments over this. We almost left the project because of this.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, figured it all out. It delayed the whole project by about 4 or 5 months. And at the end of it, we were 3 of the 4 projects, 3 of the 4 builds, we call them builds whenever we're doing like an effect for consulting. 3 of the 4 of them were taken away from us and given to this person's people, his kind of buddies. And when we got to film day, we traveled to go be there to be on set. 3 of the 4 builds didn't work, and they were the 3 of the 4 builds that we didn't do.
Nice.
But we're the primary consultants, so we're responsible for them.
That's
even though we didn't build them and we had nothing to do with them. So that became, a huge shit show. And then in the middle of that, someone got COVID, and they kind of got derailed from there. But anyway, so that was kind of that was a big one. It ended up costing a ton of money. And at the end of the day, we really didn't make much money from. I mean, whatever. It was fine, but the money that was spent on that, the money that was lost on both ends, we lost money on it. Production lost money on it. And it just, at that point, there were, I don't know how much more I should talk about.
As much as you'd like.
There were a couple other individuals working on the project who had asked to have their names not listed on the credits.
Oh,
It
wow.
was that bad, huh?
Wow.
It got pretty bad. Yep.
Wow. All right.
And if you think I'm talking about you, I'm not talking about you, production people who are definitely not watching this, but I'm always yeah.
Oh man. Trust us. This was all fictitious. Don't worry.
Yeah. This was
for show.
Yeah, it's like stand-up comedy. Like, not necessarily.
Exactly, man. So you really enjoy, and I guess, looking at the different aspects of the business, is there one you really do enjoy more? Is it the production on the television, personal side of things, or is it really the smaller kind of gimmick building production of those magic tricks, whether it be internal or, from other from other creators? Which side of it really like drives you in all of it?
Yeah, we love the product side of things. We like the gimmicks, the producing of that kind of stuff. We love that. We were talking about it this last year. This is just a few months ago, was the first time in our company's history, short history, but nonetheless, where we've been able to only focus on products. And that's what we love. That's just so much fun. It is so much fun, especially for me, because I get to do a lot of the once everything's kind of finalized, the routine, what the gimmicks going to look like, the artwork, that kind of thing. Like, I get to kind of take over from there and just go crazy, Right. I get to go and be able to, I get to call people up and be like, hey, I need to buy for Snap. They'd be like, I need to buy 4,000 Airheads, please. Stuff like that. And so just, I get to have we all have so much fun with it. Even the building, there are parts of it that, that aren't a lot of fun. We're up to 3 a.m. breaking open Sharpies or cutting cards or splitting cards or whatever. But that's just so much fun for us. And so, once the last consulting project that we just did, major consulting project, once that ended, all we had was products to focus on, products and individual consulting, which is always fun. We love that. We don't even consider that work, right? It's just hanging out with our friends. And so that's a bunch of fun, and that's a whole different world that we love. But the fact that from the business standpoint, we get to just really focus in on the products, we're really excited. And this is the first time we get to do that. We've never, ever been able to just get to focus on products, and that's the thing we love. So we're stoked about this year because that's all we get to focus on all year. And cannot express how stoked we are about it. So yeah,
I'm stoked about the next one that you showed us.
Dude, yes. Yeah. We'll have to do a little short follow-up or something where we get to demo a bunch of like new upcoming tricks and preview sneak peek some stuff. But yeah, we have a bunch of really fun stuff in the works, some things that we've been talking about for a long time. Some things that the guys have kind of shown to small groups of people that, maybe if you're watching, you may have seen. But yeah, we have a ton of cool stuff that we're stoked about. Really changing the way that we produce things, really changing the way that we put products out there, and we're excited for you guys to get to have it in your hands and play with it and have fun with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, what so Magic, awesome, great. We all love it. What else does Max do other than be a daddy and work with Magic? Like, what do you have any other like hobbies or anything that kind of get you excited other than Magic?
Nope, just Magic. That's it. Literally nothing else. That's all I think about.
It was worth a try.
So I love golf. I was just golfing this morning.
Nice.
So yep, I'm terrible at it. I'm getting better.
Boring.
It is very boring. But that's one of my favorite things to get to do. That's
super relaxing, right?
Yeah, super relaxing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously big into whiskey and that world. I host a whiskey tasting at my house every month.
Oh, cool.
So that's a fun little thing. Yep. I'm also big into cigars. I wrote for a cigar publication for about 5 years. I would give lectures, but for cigars.
Interesting.
That's
yep,
dope.
so go to cigar lounges and talk about cigars and do tastings and that sort of thing. So, yep.
That's a word I have no idea either.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, and then my wife and I both love to travel. I've been to, I think it's like 17 countries together so far in the last few years that we've been married. So hopefully to get some more of that. Once things open up and it's safe and all that. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. We're both. She's really like what do you call it? I was gonna say handsy, but that's not the word. So
thank you so much, Ace.
Thank you, Ace. We appreciate it, man.
I'm behind you guys 100%. Thank you so much,
awesome.
Ace.
We love that guy. But yeah, my wife loves to. She owns like a woodworking business.
Oh, cool.
And so like the funny thing is like most of the power tools that we own are hers. Like I'll
awesome.
and buy her a new power tool or something. But we love to do like house projects. We bought a house last year and fully renovated the whole thing. Flooring, walls, fixtures, cabinets, the whole 9 yards. So we love to do those kinds of projects. And I think that's it. I think that's about it. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, drinking, golfing, smoking, and being a father. That's my magic.
Everything that's good for you.
Sounds like the American dream there. Yeah,
I'm gonna live forever. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, and I love to cook. Sorry, I don't know why I mentioned that, but yeah, I love to cook. Big foodie. Yeah.
Oh, what do you like to cook?
I love to cook. I like to be adventurous. You can check out my Instagram at Max Moubarek, but mostly I really like steak. Like my favorite thing to cook is steak, like any kind of beef really. But I'm big into like smoking. So I do like brisket,
nice.
Pork, ribs. My wife really likes pulled pork. So yeah, just kind of, I like to smoke things, like to grill, like to cook. We do
nice.
beef wellington every now and again, whenever it's like a date night where we're cooking together. So yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
A little
Steve, we have a request there, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, we have a request.
Let's not play the whole fart song though.
I won't.
The end kind of like geeks me out a little bit. There you go, Mark. You got some farts.
Thank you, Mark. I love it, Mark.
I knew we should have never. I knew we should have never played the fart song live. I knew it would come back and it would always be a thing.
Oh my god, that was great, Mark. You're a legend.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate you keeping the fart song alive.
I literally downloaded that song for Tyler, and I never got to play it, and now I get to play it all the time. Thanks.
Steve has had it for months, and we never knew that the end was just like a huge wet fart. So like,
that's because it's so long. We never get through it.
It is so long.
You only need like this much of it to like get the laugh you're gonna get, and then after it's just like uncomfortably long.
Dude, yeah, and then you're set.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's so funny.
My gosh, man, I love it though. It is a good. I'm glad it's caught on to some extent.
with one person.
That's fine. Better than none, man. Better than none. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who hate it, so we're doing it right. So one question we did have come into, and this actually comes from Kat, even though she had to go off and cook dinner. But Kat wanted to know if you could only perform, and I know this maybe applies more when it was going to be, Daryl and Daryl here as well. But if you could pick. Actually, let's make this a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If you could pick one effect that they could perform, and that's the only effect they could perform for the rest of their life, what would it be?
Grandpa's letter.
All right.
For sure.
Dude, that was actually really quick. So, all right.
Yep. That was like, there's no question that would be it. Yeah, forever. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
What about it like speaks to you?
So I'll just give you the whole thing. So it's are you familiar with it? I don't know if we saw it on our website or not. Maybe we do.
No, I've never heard it.
I'm not familiar.
Oh wait, Grandpa's letter. Didn't we talk about it recently?
Maybe. I mean, it's not like we've maybe 20 people have it or 30 people. I don't know. Maybe more than that. I have no idea. Maybe people own this, but so if I was in the office, I could actually show it to you. But get an old envelope, right? And it, it's from like World War II or something, has the old stamps on it and everything. And the whole pattern is like, my grandpa was the one who got me into magic and, blah, blah. And so before he died, he had actually mailed this letter before he died in the war. So, he's like, I think that this is I think this is a moment where, maybe this is the moment that he had meant this letter for, right? This is the moment that was meant for this to be read. And so you open the letter and it's just a, handwritten letter, and you give it to the spectator and you just say, just do everything that it says to do on it. And so they do. So it says, take a deck of cards, shuffle it, blah, 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 and you eventually get down to one card and just sitting on the table and it's face down. So no one's seen the card yet, and just sitting face down. So you say, I think because my grandpa knew that this moment in time was going to happen. I think he knew the card that you were going to pick. I think he knew the order and blah, blah, and you can go into that. And so it's great for it's really great for parlor and small stage. Because you have the moment where you put up a whiteboard and you give them a marker and you're like, I want you to just write down the first letter of every line. Right. And I think there's something there. And so it's like S, E, and you're like, okay, maybe it's like a 7. It's N. You're like, okay, I don't know what that's going to D, and it's send nudes is what it ends up coming out to be. Send nudes.
That's fun.
Right. And so it's this great moment of you build this whole thing up and it's send nudes. And so it's a funny moment, whatever, grandpa's a pervert. And you're like, let's go to the last maybe the last letter, maybe he's more serious. And then it's whatever it was, 10 of spades or whatever, right? And then they turn it over to 10 of spades. So it's great because it has such a great build up, and you're not doing the magician doesn't do anything, right? You literally just have a deck of cards, a regular deck of cards and a letter, and you give it to them, and they get to do the whole thing, and you're just walking them through this thing. And it's such a great moment because it reminds me so much of the way that they think in this really serious, what is going to have the most impact? How do you make this work? And then you get to a point and it's it's a joke, it's right. Just, and then they have this great humor about them, but then it's still really good magic at the end,
Yeah.
And so Daryl, when he was writing the letter, it took him forever. It took him months to figure out how to get send nudes to be the first letter of every line and the last letter of every line to be 10 of spades or whatever it is, right? And to get this and to get to read and actually work as a magic trick. So there's so much brilliance behind it that I've always appreciated. But it's also just it's so much them, just hilarious but brilliant. And I think that would be a Yeah, I could watch them.
And now you haven't put that out?
It's out on the site. I just looked. It's on the website. We'll link to it in the description.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So it also says ages 16 plus. So sorry,
Nice.
Mateo.
Dudes, we don't want to be, Yeah, we've had a few. I think we sold to someone at a convention who was pretty upset about it because they did like children's stuff or whatever. So yeah,
that is too funny. I mean, hey,
that's kind of like I have this kinky cards right here, and it's like I what am I going to do with it? I can't put it on the site because I don't know who's going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'll just send it to Max.
There you go.
I'll put it up on our site.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Well, while we're on here, that was the one question we did have come in. Does anyone have any questions in the audience they want to know from Max? Honestly, this is a great opportunity for anyone who's curious about the entrepreneurial side of Magic, which I think always gets overlooked. And honestly, like, I enjoy that side of things. I enjoy the business. Sounds super nerdy. I enjoy the business side of Magic, but obviously I enjoy the Magic side of Magic as well. So
who came up with abstract effects? That's such a cool name.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was, I almost want to say it was Daryl Davis. I think, because I know I came up with the logo. He came up with the idea of doing like the space theme. And so I think it was Daryl Davis. And so I honestly wish we would have saved every name that we had gone through before we got to abstract effects. But yeah, I think it was Davis. It was like, that was one of those moments where it's like, we have to stop everything and figure this out. And we're just like at his house for like 4 hours trying to work on a name. That's awesome. Conceptualize what the logo could look like. And so then I worked on the logo for a long time, the font, the stylization stuff. And then he was just like, throw it on a Galaxy background. And then that's how it came about. And
nice.
That's the thing.
Now nice. people can get that crying statue on the site, right?
Yeah, this is a champion shirt. It's I think Abstract X Keyworth X champion. So Clay Keyworth, who works for us, he does a bunch of our gimmick building. He actually designed this shirt, and then it just has like the abstract effects across the line. But and it is a champion.
Nice.
Sleeve.
So you're getting actually like good quality, comfortable clothing instead of like a Teespring t-shirt.
Yeah. Champion's legit. Here in Vegas, it's starting to get pretty warm already. So, if you're in the warmer climate, maybe go for a t-shirt. But
yeah,
it was so hot today.
Yeah,
crazy.
But yeah, the business side of things is interesting. I mean, is there anything, Tyler, that you like particularly find interesting about the business side of Magic, and in comparison to like other industries?
Well, so I think that it's really interesting to see that. To me, that Magic takes a very entertainment kind of style to the way it's managed, especially for a lot of these magicians who I don't want to say that they aren't necessarily like self-managing. They have, managers, PR people, other things like that. When I really feel like most magicians start out in a place where they're managing it all themselves. And I think a lot of times, in converse to other industries where you can't get big unless you have someone doing all of that, in Magic, it feels like you don't do all of that until you get big because you need the time for other things. It's not because of lack of reach, because the community is so small. It's because of that that just need of other time in order to do other things that become more productive. I always I always find that interesting how like Magic, though, like I said, it follows the same path, does it for different reasons. But I think even on the production side, like I think it's interesting to hear just how, I don't know, I never considered how much production goes into like movies and things. I don't know why, like you see, like, I feel like everyone makes a big deal out of like Now You See Me and that franchise being like, oh, well, I was a consultant on that. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Like they would have had Magic consultants. Like, I don't know why that clicks. It's a movie about magic. Like, I don't know why. I just always think of magicians as like the dude at your birthday party or the dude on a stage. Like, so
dude, the crazy thing is they literally have like people come in that could just do coin like rolls. Like they have people who are like shuffling, and they just come in and they have people do like weird like poses where they're it's so weird.
I think the one thing that really like to some extent ruined Magic and television for me is when we were talking to Wes Barker and he was like, yeah, like I was supposed to do a role in Riverdale or something where like it would cut and it would be the hands, but it was going to be my hands. And I'm like, wait, I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, they don't even learn magic themselves. Like, they have other people come in and I'm like, that's such bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
he said some people learn it depending on what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
But then
didn't he say what's his name? And Now You See Me? Was it Now You See Me?
Jesse Eisenberg. Learns stuff.
Yeah, he learned stuff. All right. He learned the snap change really well.
Yeah. But like, and that's what
Poor guy.
that's what throws me about it is like, I feel like magic is different than being like, oh, like I'm going to do a movie about scuba diving. And so like, oh, I need to have someone else be a stand-in because I don't want to go through all the process of learning about scuba diving. Magic is fun. Why wouldn't you want to be like, oh yeah, let's do that? Like, I don't know. That whole side of things just throws me off. But like, I think it's interesting how much magic and entertainment kind of operate in the same space, but differently, you know?
Yeah.
Like even the whole idea of like the entertainment side of like fool us, you know, and having talked to some people who have been on it, like the fact that like it's purely entertainment. It's not about the magic, it's purely about entertainment. And I love the fact that like magic sells when it's purely for entertainment, but I'm sure 90% of magicians out there would be like, yeah, like I used to be bullied because I was into magic as a kid. Mm-hmm. But like somehow as adults, we're all just like, oh yeah, magic's great. Like that side of it that like, I don't know. I don't want to say perversion. That sounds wrong, but that like, it really is like that perversion of magic for entertainment purposes throws me off from a business point of view because magic is entertainment. Like, why make it?
That's the whole point of Fool Us is to bring back that entertainment in magic.
I disagree. That's
exactly what it's all about.
They're trying to mainstream magic. They're trying to mainstream magic in a way that will not actually bring widespread visibility to magic. Like people don't watch Fool Us for the magic. They watch it for the reaction. And they want to know whether or not it fools Penn and Teller. That's the selling point of it.
No, but of course, but the whole point of it is the magic.
I disagree. I think people are more concerned about whether or not Penn and Teller are fooled. That's where I think the perversion comes into play.
That's the fun part. That's the fun part of it, for sure.
At the end of the day, I'd much rather see like a super dope routine, and I could give two shits whether Penn and Teller are fooled. Nothing against Penn and Teller.
Of course.
So, but I think that's where the people who appreciate magic are more in it for the magic. The masses who get sold on this are more in it for the gamification of it. So
yeah, it is interesting to think like we did a kind of going back to the consulting thing and talking about like the perversion. So do like that word, like in the truest sense, like there are a lot of areas where, you know, entertainment does get perverted and things get changed to benefit this kind of like lesser meaning of what you're actually doing. We're doing a consulting gig, and I won't get super specific for this either, but doing a consulting gig for big late night talk show, whatever presentation thing. And, you know, they were really involved in the way that the magic trick was supposed to go. Right. Like there's so many beats that they changed, and they were like, well, we don't want this. We want this instead. You know, don't do I guess I can say it's like, don't do don't do a stuffed elephant, do a goldfish. And we're like, that's not exciting. No one's going to be like elephant. And you're like, you're not going to present an elephant out of nowhere, like on stage. Right. And it's like a stuffed elephant. It's like, funny, you got me. But also like, oh, he knew it was an elephant. And so they're like, no, we want goldfish really specifically. And I was like, that's not interesting, you know, but it's not up to us. Right. And that's a hard thing about that world is like, what are you going to do? You're either going to tell them like, you're wrong and we're going to walk away and not do this. And you're just going to find the next, you know, 100 magicians who are on, you know, wherever on TV or TikTok or Instagram, you know, it's like, oh no, great. Okay. Whatever you want, you know? And that's, yeah. So I get what you're saying about like the kind of perversion of the art and the craft to kind of narrow in on that entertainment value. But, you know, it is tough. And I mean, again, you know, like there are people like Steve, you know, you're watching Penn and Teller for the routine, and Tyler, you're watching it for the reaction, see if you're fooling Penn and Teller. And ultimately it doesn't matter because the dollars are coming in either way, you know.
And I think that's like, and I listen, I think it's great that people could make a living for something they're so passionate about for magic. And I think though, to some extent, you know, Magic becoming more mainstream is a great thing. The more people who get into Magic, the more people who realize you can go on the internet and use the internet to learn Magic. That's great. It's the way of the future for all knowledge sharing is the internet. Awesome. Utilize it. But I also think it's leading to the quicker capitalization of Magic as an entertainment commodity instead of Magic for Magic's sake. Like, again, like you just said, you could have been like, no, you're wrong. I don't want to do this with stuffed elephant. I want to do it with the goldfish. And they would have been like, too bad. We're going to go find the next dude who's going to do it exactly the way we want it to. And that's a commodity attitude. That's not an appreciation attitude. And to me, like, that's kind of, it cheapens it a little bit, in a way that like I'm torn on it. I don't want to be like, oh, like magicians shouldn't be on primetime entertainment. Shit, do your thing. Get big. Because I think magicians who get big are still humble about it. They're still the same people. You see them still at Magic Live. You chat with them in all these places. It's not them who's the problem, but I think to some extent they almost get taken advantage of, or they're willing to buy into these scenarios that are not necessarily beneficial to them or what their values are in order for that, what they think is the next kind of evolution of their career,
Yeah. I mean, it's tough too, because, on one hand, it's, you are bringing a lot of new people into Magic when you do anything large scale, right? So, as much as Chris Angel, kind of gets trashed, right? Like, there are a lot of young people who watched him growing up, Mind Freak or whatever, like, who got into Magic because of that. Like, I remember watching him as a kid, and I didn't become a professional magician because of him or whatever, but like, it's just, there's like this interest that develops because you're doing this thing. But I get what you're saying, where like on the other hand, it's like, are you cheapening the art form that you're working in? And it is a hard balance, right? And I think like we were kind of talking about earlier with like, you're not going to please everyone in this scenario. There's no really right answer. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to benefit, yourself in the way that you think you're going to benefit the Magic community? Or are you going to benefit the Magic community in a way that doesn't benefit yourself and like your future and your career and whatever? Because I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's all of our mindset is like, you go figure out how you're going to make a living for you and your family and like do your thing, right? Do what you love. Like, and that's, but it's hard because I think a lot of people see, especially when you're a company, they see it as kind of like, it's a scam or whatever, right? Like you're selling out, and that's what kills me is like in every industry, once you get to a certain threshold, you just get to be thrown in this pile of people that are just like, they're like kind of cast our issues, cast our problems on this kind of group because they've made it. And it's, it's hard because like you see people who like, they got big because they're entertaining, but they happen to be magicians. Right. And so they can trash them, or they got big because they happen to be singers and they get trashed in that, or they, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Because it's hard to stay true to the craft while really building your brand. And so ultimately you have to think, is it better for the industry as a whole for this person to be doing this thing? Or is it better for there to be more people doing this thing because there's an opportunity for them to do it? And now this person's opened doors for that to happen. So there's just so many facets of it that it's hard to really say like who's right, who's wrong in that.
And I don't think there is a right and wrong necessarily. And it's interesting because, and sorry, Steve, I want to throw one thing out there before I forget it. Like I think I make this comparison a lot actually with the music industry. And I think Magic is in its infancy of this limelight primetime vibe. And again, I think magicians who are doing this stuff, like, great, keep doing you. I don't want to be out here saying like, oh, you're like, I don't think magicians are cheapening it. I think magicians are to some extent in the same place that musicians 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago were, where you are beholden to a label or you're beholden to a producer or you're beholden to an entertainment organization who's telling you this is what you need to do. And you say, okay, this is how I make my living. This is what I need to do. And I hope that from all of this visibility of Magic, what actually comes of it is what we are now seeing in the music industry, where the artists themselves are taking back the control and saying, you told me I couldn't do this for 10 years because no one would like it. And look, I just went and did it on my own and people love it. And now I'm the one benefiting from it. And I'm the one directing my career and my growth instead of having to kind of like feel like you're going in a direction that you're okay with, but it wouldn't be the same one you want to be. And I think that's the tough part. Like, I think part of I think it's genuinely great to see these people doing great things for the community, getting the visibility there. But it really just, it's so early stage. It'll be interesting to see where Magic as a primetime thing is in 10 years, you know?
I mean, here's the thing, though. It's like TV in general is entertainment. 100%, right? You can't even watch a reality show that isn't reality. Like, there's
none of that's it's all scripted.
Everything's scripted. AGT's scripted. Like, Survivor, like every single thing you see on TV is altered. Whether it's magic, music, you can't even watch a live music show that is actually the person actually singing.
Yeah.
So it's that's just the way entertainment works. They want to give people, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong either. It is what it is, but I think they're doing what they think people would want to see and make them come back time and time again, right? What is it that attracts people to watch again and again? It's that uncertainty. Is this guy or is this woman gonna trick Penn and Teller? You know, they're just it kind of, that is the game, right? You know, reality shows, what brings people back? It's the connection to the person and the fucking drama, because everybody loves drama, you know. So they just make it as dramatic as possible, you know. And it's like the farthest away from reality they can do. That's what brings people in. Like, let's be honest, nobody ever thought Chris Angel was doing shit that was real. You know, I was 2 years old and I knew the guy was a freaking whatever. You know, it was literally for entertainment. You know, none of it was real, but you don't care. Everybody knows magic's not real. Sorry if I'm offending anybody, but they don't care because it's entertaining. You know, why do we watch it? We don't watch it just because we love magic. Why did we get into magic? Like, we love it. We love it because it makes us smile. We love it because we know it's not real, but it looks real.
Yeah.
You know, even knowing how something's done. I know that you do a double lift there. I know that you do, DPS, but I still can't fucking see it. Right. And that is what is magic to me. Knowing how to do something and still not know how they fucking did it.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to like, that's, you know, if that's the way that you are entertained by it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing of like bringing it to a wider audience and trying to please as many people as possible. So because of that, now you go to Tyler's point of like, you're kind of perverting it a little bit to change it and script it and modify it to make sure that not only do you like it, but I like it, and this person likes it, and this person likes it. You know, the amount of people in my life who are not remotely involved in magic, but know that I am, you know, will bring up like, oh, I saw this thing on Fool Us, or oh, I saw Shin Lim, or I saw whatever, you know, or Piff, or they'll say like, oh man, and they'll ask me and talk, and they're excited because, you know, for one reason or another, whether it's because they want to know how it's done, or they want to tell me about like this joke, or they're like, oh, my wife got to call up on stage, or like this, you know, one of my friends, when Noah Sony, awesome dude, if you haven't seen him, check him out, but he went on Penn and Teller and did a book test. You know, when he went on, he was talking about how he had this, what's that gimmick called? The full hand, the fake hand thing. Help me out, guys.
Baby hand?
Nope. I hate this right now. I'm so upset that I own a magic company. I can't remember what this is called. So it's not a thumb tip. It's that's.
Oh yeah.
Plastic. This. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We're all gonna hate ourselves when we watch this, and we're like, "Oh yeah, it was."
Anybody in the chat? Come on, help us out.
Anyways, so whatever it was, you know, same idea as a thumb tip, right? Where it's supposed to match your skin tone, and he was talking about how, like, you know, because it's black, like there aren't a lot of, you know, gimmicks like that where it's supposed to match the skin tone to match.
Third hand.
No, not. Oh yeah, the third hand. Yeah, that's right. Yep, third hand. Yep, because he doesn't think the whiteboard. And so, anyways, a friend of mine had watched it before even I saw it, And he was like, hey, you guys should start manufacturing, these things and so like in different flesh tones and based on this thing that he saw. And so for me, he didn't want to tell me about the effect that he did, whether Penn or Teller fooled, nothing. He saw it from the point of like, there's not like, this is interesting that there's a market here, because like it's really catered to this specific like flesh tone, like no one's really thought about like other skin tones, whatever. Like, so that was really interesting to him. And then if other people were like, hey, I saw whoever do this thing and I want to know how it's done. And it's like, oh, why wasn't he fooled because of this? Like, I feel like I could have figured that out or I couldn't have figured that out, whatever. Right. And so that's the thing is like, ultimately it is like what you're saying, Steve, like it is about entertainment. But I think the way that at least the way that I see it, and I think the way that the guys see it is that it is really about bringing magic to a larger audience. So whether it's through YouTube, Penn and Teller, releasing products, releasing downloads, doing TV shows, doing, Now You See Me, whatever it is, I've always seen it as a great thing that no matter what, there's magic coming into the mainstream. And whether it's fooling, not fooling, entertaining, not like there's an audience that it's being put out to. And there's going to be some people who are going to catch on to it and be like, man, I want to know how that's done, right? Yeah. I want to learn how to do that. I want to be like that guy and do that trick and then get into that world. And now we're building a larger audience not a larger audience, but like a larger kind of membership in magic. Like there are more people getting involved in the community. And I think that's the only way that community grows, right? Is that we're finding ways to get people involved and get people interested because otherwise it's just going to fizzle out like in anything.
I mean, look at David Blaine. How many people got into magic because of his street magic video?
Sure. Yeah.
But I also think to my point to some extent earlier, like he has full creative control. Like I think,
but he does. But the thing is it's not like he's doing groundbreaking things. It's for entertainment.
Yeah, right? And I think that's perfectly fine. But I think that creative control is my concern.
Some of the things he's doing now isn't even fucking magic. It's for entertainment.
Yeah, it's crazy endearing shit, and it's awesome. But like,
but it's not magic. It's entertainment, and that's what is amazing. He's brilliant because what he's doing is he's tapping into a huge audience rather than just the ones that are interested in magic, right? And he's bringing in people that are just interested in crazy things, like the balloon. It's just, I think bringing people into that world allows people to see the other side of it, which is the magic side, or I mean, how did you get into magic? How did Tyler get into magic? How did I get into magic? It was all watching someone, right?
Right, 100%. Yeah,
and it's the same goes for today, I think.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about David Blaine, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself, and then I'm also gonna go to the restroom.
All right, sounds good.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, that is funny. Anyone have any questions out there?
Yeah, any last minute questions? I love finding out about stuff like that, and you know what? I really love to kind of just do a day in the life of other brothers, or just see how they're creating gimmicks, and
that would be dope, dude.
It'd be pretty fun to just kind of be a fly on the wall to see how that all works. What I mean?
No, without a doubt, man. I'm excited to see where magic goes in the future. I think there's a lot of potential out there, but I do think that creative control is the one thing that worries me.
Yeah, I mean, but it's with everything, right?
Yeah,
it's with an artist. It's when it's kind of like when you're a photographer, right? And you get hired and you have your own style, and then you get on set and the director tells you what they want.
Yeah,
you don't have creative control. You're there to take the picture, and 300,000 other photographers can take that image because there's so many damn photographers. But what it comes down to is, if you're not doing your own work, you're usually don't have creative control unless you're the best in the world, like David Blaine, and can go anywhere, and anybody wants to work with him, he can say, I'm doing it this way.
And I hope magic becomes more mainstream so more people can have that level of creative control, though, is what I think,
Yeah, and I think,
fingers crossed.
But it's just like anything. It's like it's like freaking Tom Brady going to a team, that obviously he's like, I'll go there, but I need full control. He has it because he can claim that. There's very few people in any industry that can literally dictate, the rules when they're involved, and it's the upper elite, you know what I mean?
Dude, no doubt.
It's just the way it works.
I'm okay with that though. For now.
What shirt am I wearing? I am wearing a jiu-jitsu shirt. It's called Show Your Roll. It's kind of the supreme of jiu-jitsu.
It kind of looks like a pod, like a edamame.
It totally does. Yeah. No, it's dope. But yeah, it's like the supreme of jiu-jitsu. Shit used to sell out. Still sells out pretty quick, but used to sell out in like seconds. And then they flooded the market, and you know what happens when you flood the market with all your shit because you just make too much stuff.
Dude, it's the way it goes.
Yeah. Hey everybody, what up? Look at him. He's just like doop doo doop doo.
Pour myself something new here.
So, I'm gonna actually pour something for
Wait.
For you, Tyler.
Wait, what did I?
Since you're more of the Isla guy.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
That's funny.
All right.
Well, guys,
I got trashed a lot less than I thought I would. This is nice.
Dude,
we're not here to trash people. We love people.
Yeah. Here's the thing, dude.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. You guys are seriously awesome. We love getting to watch, follow your guys' channel and keep up with you guys. You guys do such a great thing for the community, and it's really people like you. We talk about like guys that go on TV and the movies and all that kind of stuff, but it's really, really the guys that like you that are really expanding the community, really deepening the bonds and the relationships between consumers, vendors, creators, all that kind of stuff, and that's just so important. And so we really appreciate what you guys do. I really appreciate the support. It means a ton to me, to all the effects that you guys let us on and let me rant about random stuff for a couple hours.
Always, man. Always.
This is awesome, dude. This is seriously so cool. We love you guys so much, and seriously cannot tell you how much we appreciate both of you and how awesome you guys are, and how much it means that you guys are in this community.
That means
honestly, it really does mean a lot. We do appreciate that, and we've had a blast having you on, Max, and we will definitely be having you and the other brothers on again at some point, whether it be a 24-hour episode and having you guys come on and shoot the shit for a bit, or another standalone episode at some point in time, because it's really been interesting to kind of pick your brain. And, I know Daryl and Daryl have probably different perspectives that we'd love to hear them share as well. But I think, it's just as important that people get to know Max behind the scenes, who does all this to really make Abstract Effects what it is. And I think it's amazing to see how your brand in 2 years has grown. And like I said, I think that within the Magic community, the people who really, enjoy and learn Magic, you're a known entity at this point. I know it's the humility in you that keeps you from feeling that. And I think that's great, because it's going to continue to propel you forward. And we really can't wait to see where you guys go. I mean, Steve and I always get excited when you have a new release coming out, and we love to get to check them out. Steve's not going to shut up about that thing until it actually comes out. So
I'm still not going to shut up about it. That's for damn sure. I can't wait to review that thing. That's for sure.
Oh my god, that's going to be fucking sick.
No joke. Make sure you guys get some of those. Yeah, I cannot tell you much. Yeah, I appreciate the kind of words. That really, the encouragement, all that means so much just to me personally, and obviously to all of us. And this has been awesome. Like I said, I mean, obviously we have we're in communication, so we'll keep talking. But anyone who's watching, like, if you guys have any more questions, anything that that you want to know, or have any issues with gimmicks, or just want something for free and whatever, like, right? Like,
hold on, I'm gonna chime in here and say, everybody who's listening to this, Max is just way too nice. Don't be a douche and just message them for free shit.
Do it. I don't care, whatever.
Yeah, Max, he's been drinking tonight. He's probably a little drunk and saying shit he shouldn't be. Don't take him for his word. Let the company make some money. They don't charge too much for their shit. Just stop sending free shit out everywhere. It's good to do every once in a while.
That's nice, man. That's my whole job. 90% of my job is just sending people free stuff, and 10% keeping things afloat and contracts and finances and stuff. But oh man,
we appreciate what you do for the community, man. We really do. And
without a doubt,
thank you guys enough. Cannot thank you guys enough. And everyone who's watching, can't thank you guys enough.
Speaking of giving away something, you want to give something away?
Oh yeah, we have How many? I don't know how many people are like everyone who's donated or whatever. We should definitely give everyone over them something for sure. So we have. I think what did I tell you? There were like 8 things that we had to give away.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So there's 8 giveaways. So
I don't think you ever said a number, but 8 sounds good.
8 sounds nice. Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's do this first. How many people donated? You don't have to donate. People don't donate yet.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 things.
I'm gonna have to check. Let me see here.
Because what we'll do is we'll just have an idea. I have an idea.
What? Okay.
How many donated so far?
I don't. This damn dashboard is trash. There's literally a tab where it should show me exactly that, and it's just blank, which I know isn't true.
Everyone donated plus 5 more people. How about that?
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. You don't have to donate. Don't donate. What you're gonna do is those who donated automatically get something, and then what we'll do is we'll do something that'll 5 people will get it. Now, if you donated, don't join in this giveaway. Okay, we're gonna do 1 giveaway, but we're gonna give 5. You said right? We'll give 5 things away. Okay. So, we got to think of something that we can do that would give 5 things away. Let's think of one thing that we've talked about throughout the show that we can ask.
Oh, I had a completely different idea.
Okay, what was your idea?
And this is a creative idea.
Max, you saying mine wasn't creative?
No, I didn't.
That's fucked up.
That being said, Max, what is the? Do you guys have like a motto or like a brand like tagline?
We do.
What is it?
It's at the end of most of our trailers, and it's abstract effects. It's in the game.
I love it. Oh my god, I love that on so many levels.
So it is deception by design. That's like in our like business cards and logo and everything. So I don't know where you're going with that, but it's one of the two. They both.
So I was gonna say what we could do is if we come up for at least one of the things to give away, or even if 5 things come up creatively, I was gonna say people need to come up with like a funny or a fun kind of like tagline for abstract effects and like
After Effects.
Yeah, dude, I'm clearly in like fucking Adobe mode here. But for abstract effects, and whoever has either the best or the funniest or whatever would win something. If you're open to that one.
So I will take that up a level. So let's do that and the top 5, like the 5 winners. We'll put them at the end of like one of our trailers, like upcoming trailers.
Okay.
Oh.
Because usually at the end it's like abstract effects, it's in the game or whatever, right? And so we'll do like abstract effects, it's After Effects or whatever and we'll just do.
Don't use mine. That's mine.
All right.
I mean, you can use it in the video. Don't let them win with it. So all right. So we're gonna come up with. All right, dude. C-Dub is on this shit too. Ace, Mateo, Chad Long donated, Mark donated, and Nick donated, and damn, you guys are just. I love how on top of this you are.
You guys are all amazing.
And did I say Ace donated already?
Yeah.
We will go through and we will get all of that, and we will make sure that everyone who donated either reach out to us on that Deckin Around so we can confirm that it got picked up in the chat, and then reach out as well to Max at Abstract Effects. But for this here, we will say the 5 best taglines that you come up with, funniest, most creative, whatever. We're gonna pick them. Will win the giveaway, something for a giveaway, and it will be featured in a Abstract Effects trailer.
And I'm gonna say this because I'm always the guy that says it. We are not responsible for giveaways. Okay.
Yes, we are not responsible for fulfillment in any way, shape, or form.
Hold on. This is what it comes down to. Okay, Tyler's the nice guy here. I'm not the nice guy. What I'm saying is, because we are presenting doesn't mean we're responsible. Okay. Max and Abstract Effects is super generous enough. They will send it out. Sometimes we have to push them a little bit more. We will get you your stuff, but we are not responsible for it.
Hit me up. I will.
I've said my piece. It's a touchy subject. Can
Yeah,
you tell?
clearly we've had some run-ins with things. So guys, what are we getting? So guys, go for it. Drop some taglines in the chat. Let's get creative here. And
we're doing this like right now. Like this is like right now. It's happening.
Let's do it right. Yeah. Or you know what? Actually, let's open this up even more. Let's have it in the comments. We'll pull something this weekend, maybe Sunday. We'll pick a winner out of everything that's there. We can all get together. We can, look through the comments and find the one we like the most. So for anyone listening, you get a little bit of a heads up. For anyone who's watching the replay, you guys will get a chance. Just drop it in the comments below after the video ends.
Yes.
Funniest tagline.
Good idea.
If you want to drop multiple options, you're more than welcome to. We will only be picking one per person as a winner there. So
if you already won because you donated, you can't win another one.
And if you want to just drop taglines for fun, go for it, though.
Yeah, do it.
You just won't win. So we appreciate it either way, though.
Yeah,
but with that in mind, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick word from our sponsor here, guys, but make sure to stick around for after that because we're going to be letting you know who next week's guest is. We're going to be having a little quick finish-up chat with Max there. I don't know. Sure, why not? So let's take a quick word from our sponsor here.
Join us as we celebrate the marvelous and fascinating things that surround us, all in the palm of your hands. You will be mesmerized. Follow us on Instagram at MarvelousDecks and at MarvelousDecks.com.
You know what else you need in the palm of your hand? Some Visions playing cards. So go make sure to check those out on Kickstarter right now. I don't know the URL, but it's in the description, or just Google Visions playing cards Kickstarter and it'll come up. It'll be the first one you click on. Make sure to check it out.
We're like 5,000 away from unlocking the Lautrec Future Edition and Collector's Box.
And this is the last commission deck that Lautrec is going to be doing. So this is going to be a baller of a deck. Steve doesn't even know what it's going to look like yet. It's going to be so damn good. You're going to need sunglasses to check it out because it's going to be shiny and fresh. So make sure to check it out. And for everyone out there, we are just going to tell you who next week's guest is because, again, I just didn't make a picture for it. So with that in mind,
no, I'm just kidding.
we need a production assistant. If anyone wants to apply, drop that in the comments too. So just kidding.
Intern.
There you go. With that in mind, we are really excited for next week's guest. For anyone, we actually even brought him up earlier tonight as well.
Right.
Yeah. So for everyone who is a big fan of Magic, make sure to tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be having Ryan Schlutz of False Anchors on the show. Ryan is coming out with the V3 in the near future, as well as we had a quick teaser there. Max mentioned a gimmick or a trick is going to be coming out with Ryan from Abstract Effects as well in the near future. So make sure to tune in. We are really excited to talk to Ryan. Absolutely awesome, down to earth, really cool dude. Another multi-talented entrepreneur as well. Also runs a fitness clothing line, which I told him when we were first talking about this. I'm like, dude, I just want to know about that. We're not even going to talk about Magic. I want to talk about how you got into gym clothes. So sounds also really awkward now that I say it out loud.
It's because he's sexy. I mean, come on. That's clearly.
There you go. But yeah, so make sure
just as long as he doesn't like come to the interview shirtless.
I just always remember this is gonna like whatever I'll say it. I watch Friends. I always remember the Friends episode where the one like where Monica was dating a guy who always wore gym shorts, but like his stuff always hung out, and so he'd always like stretch and put his leg up on chairs. And I'm just like, anytime I think of like gym clothing, I'm like, that's stuck in my head. It's fucked up. So thank you everyone for joining us for this absolutely wild and crazy ride. Oh my God, Steve. Somehow I need to figure out how to remotely disable Steve's soundboard. But with that in mind, thank you so much for everyone who came out tonight and enjoyed this wild and crazy ride with us. Do we talk about what happened here?
No.
Never again.
Everybody, no. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much for stopping in and sticking with us and just dealing with the shenanigans. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see you soon. Max, stick around for the after show.
And everyone else, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and do those fun things that help us continue to grow on social media and YouTube, because we want you to have more crazy fun people to enjoy in the chat while we do crazy fun things on the show. So thank you so much, everyone. Make sure to tune in next Thursday, and good night.
Hey, peace.